Oh, wait, hold on. Hello everybody, it's Salami. Welcome back to the stream. Also, hey can we? Hi Correct Galaxy, hi Eternal, hi hello, hi Johnny. Opening music so good, gets me vibing. Oh, I'm glad you like it. Wow, it took some finagling to get the to figure out the setup for this, but yes, I made it. Hi Tom, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well. We're book reading today. It's my first time doing it, so I was kind of trying to figure out an okay angle given the setup of things. But yeah, hope you guys are doing well. It is a treasury of fairy tales, and I have hands. I do. What? So yeah, I wanted to do hand cam because it's illustrated, and the book has a pretty interesting art style by Annie-Claude Martin. I think they did the compilation illustrations and stuff. It's my bedtime, so this will be a great bedtime story. Oh, I'm glad. Yes, this is definitely comfy stream today. And I figured I did put well, I don't know. While reading, I was thinking maybe we could do some a little bit more fantasy BGM once I start reading. So I found some ones that hopefully are okay to use. Did I put the credits in the? I think I did. Anyways, oh, I will. I will after this. But I did also credit the assets that I'm using right now, like this dress and this book asset. So yes, feel free to get comfy. Hi Baku, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for doing it at 1. I couldn't make it. I miss your streams. No worries, it's okay. It's my pleasure. I try to make time on Saturday afternoons at least to stream and things like that. So yes, the dress is new. It's an asset that is a live 2D asset. I figured I'd dress for the occasion. So yeah, how will you hold both books at the same time? Magic. But yeah, so let's take a gander. This is a treasury of fairy tales. It's like it's pretty hefty. It's actually, I don't know how to describe it. It's not exactly hardbound, but it's kind of squishy. And these are the stories inside. I'm gonna show you guys the actual table of contents later on. But yeah, so there's a lot in here. I'm not sure how many. Oh, I covered my face. I'm not sure how many we'll go through today. Although, if you take a peek, sneak preview, the text is pretty big. So we might go through it. Maybe we can go through most of it. We'll see. But yeah, If you guys are hungry, feel free to sit back, relax, have some snacks. Maybe let's go see. Let's open it, shall we? Also, I really like physical books because of the page turn. Oh, it's Little Red Riding Hood. I almost had a face reveal by accident. Oh, really? How? Okay, here's the table of contents. So we have Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White, and Rose Red. We have some pretty obscure fairy tales, I think, in this one. But some kind of what's it called? Some kind of familiar ones. So it's gonna be a mix of all of those things. So yeah, Snow White and Rose Red, Hansel and Gretel, we know those two. Little Match Girl, Puss in Boots, All's Well That Ends Well. I remember mentioning that at some point. The Princess and the Pea, Beauty and the Beast, The Emperor's New Clothes, Rumpelstiltskin, Florinda and Joringel, Cinderella, Reynard and the Fisherman, Rapunzel, Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, The Little Tailor, Tom Thumb, Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, The Firebird, Ricky Tuftyhead, Beautiful Vasilisa, and 7 League. Oh my god, 7 League. 7 League Boots. I thought Puss in Boots is Shrek's original. Oh no, Puss in Boots had his own thing. It's by Christian Perrault. Isn't The Emperor's New Clothes the movie about the Emperor turned into a llama? That's Emperor's New Groove. But yeah, hi Toby, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. My hands. Yes, they exist. So yeah, all tales have been retold, it says in small print here. So yeah, it also says who the original authors are per story. I'm not sure if each chapter will have, no, it won't mention who wrote it. I'll just refer to the contents when I introduce each story, I guess. I guess we're gonna start with a classic one. I'm gonna put on some medieval music for maximum vibes. So yes, please get comfy. Okay, so we have here Little Red Riding Hood. I'm gonna see if I can show you guys. I'm gonna try to show you guys the art as we go along as well. So here is Little Red Riding Hood. So, as told by, or as written by the Brothers Grimm, how many stories are we gonna read today? It depends. I feel like it may be a lot of stories, but as you can see, the text is quite big. So perhaps we can get through most of it, actually. If not all, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, there was a little village girl, the prettiest you have ever seen. Her mother loved her dearly, as did her grandmother. She had made her a little red hood, which suited her so well that everyone called her Little Red Riding Hood. Capital L. One day, her mother said to her, "Your grandmother is not very well. Go and see how she is. You can take her some cookies and this homemade jar of jelly." Little Red Riding Hood left right away to visit her grandmother, who lived in another village. As she was walking through the forest, she met a wolf. He looked so fancy. He would have liked to gobble her up on the spot, but he did not dare to, because there were some woodcutters nearby in the forest. He pretended to be very kind and asked her where she was going. The poor girl didn't know that it was dangerous to talk to a wolf, and she said to him, "I'm gonna see my grandmother, to take her some cookies and a jar of jelly my mother made for her." "Does she live far away?" asked the wolf. "Oh yes," replied Little Red Riding Hood. "Her house is beyond the mill, like the first house in the village." "Well," said the wolf, "I would like to see her too. I will take this road here, and you take the other road, and we will see who arrives first." The wolf set off on the shortest path, running as fast as he could. while the little girl went by the other longer path, amusing herself by gathering nuts, running after butterflies, and picking small bunches of flowers. The girl was distracted. It did not take the wolf very long to reach the grandmother's house. Uh-oh. I feel like a kid again when my grandma told me bedtime stories. I'm happy. Oh, I'm glad! I really like... I really missed this book. I've read the stories many times, and the illustrations are really unique, I feel. Okay, there he is. Oh my god, he looks so sus. He reached up and knocked at the door. Tap, tap. "Who is it?" came a voice from inside. "It is your granddaughter, oh my god. Little Red Riding Hood," said the wolf, disguising his voice. "I have bought you some cookies and a jar of jelly my mother has made for you." The good grandmother, who was in bed, called out, "Lift up the latch and come in." The wolf lifted the latch and the door opened. No pants. Yeah, zesty. At once he leapt onto the bed and ate up the poor woman in less than a second. Damn, he was hungry. Then he closed the door and lay down in the grandmother's bed to wait for the Little Red Riding Hood. After a few moments, she knocked on the door. Tap, tap. "Who is it?" When she heard this, Little Red Riding Hood was a little scared at first, but remembering her grandmother was ill, she answered, "It's your granddaughter, Little Red Riding Hood. I brought you some cookies and a jar of jelly my mother has made for you." The wolf softened his voice a little and called out, "Lift up the latch and come in." Little Red Riding Hood lifted the latch and the door opened. The wolf hid under the bed covers and said, "Put the cookies and the jar of jelly on the table and come sit on the bed beside me." Little Red Riding Hood climbed onto the bed and stared at her grandmother. "Grandma, what big arms you have!" she cried. "All the better to hug you with," replied the wolf. Was this inspired by Little Bookshop? Not really. I've actually been planning since last year to read this book, well, to do a book reading stream. Oh, it's a full spread, look! He's wearing those are Grandma's pajamas? Grandma Wolf, so cute and fluffy. Wow. It's so colorful. Oh my gosh. Wait, I just realized that the wolf foot. Oh, goodness. Yeah, Granny's big. Oh, hi, Homem. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. But yeah. Hello's just memeing. No worries. Oh no. And Grandma, what big ears you have. All the better to hear you with. Grandma, what big eyes you have. All the better to see you with, my child. Grandma, what big teeth you have, cried Little Red Riding Hood. All the better to eat you with, barked the wolf, and throwing back the covers he leapt out of bed. Just as he was about to eat up the little girl, the woodcutter, who had been in the forest, burst into the cottage. With one blow of his axe, he cut off the wolf's head, and nobody was ever troubled by that wicked creature again. Man, so much happened in this one paragraph. Grandma looks different. I feel like she turned furry. She's ill. Just kidding. Thank you, Precious, reading to us like this. Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying. So that was Little Red Riding Hood. It's a really short story. Yeah, Grandma's just gone. It's literally no mention about the aftermath of Grandma. I mean, she died, but nobody really talked about it. Oh no, justice for Grandma. Alright. But yeah, so our next story is Snow White and Rose Red. This one is... I feel like I've only read this story in this book. So this one's by Brothers Grimm. Who's this guy? Oh boy. A little different than I remember. Yeah, it's a different version, I think. So this one is... Oh yeah, please let me know also if the music volume is okay, or if the volume's alright. So, once upon a time, a poor widow lived in a hut in a lonely place. In front of the hut was a garden in which grew two rose bushes, one with white roses and the other with red. The widow had two daughters just like the two rose bushes, and they were called Snow White and Rose Red. Stories do that sometimes, yeah. It's fine, I hear you good. Alright, thank you for confirming. The girls were very kind and obedient, and everyone who met them thought they must be the nicest girls in the world. Rose Red loved to run through fields and the meadows, picking flowers and chasing butterflies. But Snow White preferred to stay with her mother at home, helping her with the housework and reading to her when the work was finished. So those are the girls. So I think Snow White is this one, or maybe and then this one's Rose Red, maybe. I'm not sure. Music volume's perfect. Your voice too, both the volume and the simple fact that it's your voice. Oh my gosh, I know about that. But yes, thank you for confirming. The sisters loved each other so much that they always held hands when they left the house, and vowed that they would never be parted as long as they lived. They often walked in the forest picking fruit. The animals never hurt them. They trusted the girls so much that they would walk up to them. The hare ate clover from their hands. The deer grazed beside them. The elk danced around them, and the birds perched on the branches above them, singing beautiful songs to the girls. If they stayed late in the forest and it became too dark to find their way home, they would sleep side by side in the moss until the next morning. Their mother knew they were safe there and never worried about them. Man, times were different. One time, when they had spent the night in the forest, they awoke at dawn and saw a beautiful child in a bright white dress standing in front of them. She looked at them kindly but said nothing, and then she disappeared into the forest. A ghost? And when the girls looked around, they discovered that they had been sleeping at the very edge of a cliff. They would certainly have fallen if they had walked just 2 more steps in the darkness. Their mother was sure that the child must have been the guardian angel of good children. Snow White and Rose Red kept their mother's hut so clean that it was always a pleasure to look at. In the summer, Rose Red did the housework every morning before her mother awoke, and she would place a bunch of flowers beside her bed in which there was 1 rose from each bush. In the winter, Snow White lit the fire and hung the kettle on the pot hanger. This big copper kettle glittered like gold in the firelight because she had polished it so well. In the evening, when the snow fell, their mother would say, "Snow White, bolt the door, please." Then they sat by the fireside. Their mother put her glasses on and read to the children from a big book, and the 2 girls spun wool while they listened. Their pet lamb slept at their feet, and behind them on its perch slept a white turtle dove with its head tucked under its wing. One night, when they were all sitting peacefully together, there was a knock at the door. "Rose Red, open the door quickly," said her mother. "It might be a traveler who is looking for shelter." Rose Red pulled back the bolt, expecting to see a poor man, but to her great surprise, a bear put his big head through the doorway. Rose Red screamed and jumped back. The lamb began bleeding, the turtle dove started fluttering about, and Snow White hid behind her mother's chair. "Ah, full spread! It's a bear!" I guess, is it a black bear? I'm not really sure. They look so shocked. It kind of looks like it could be a meme reaction. As Whitey Wolf ate her. Oh no! Oh, even the lamb. Hi, Amy. Welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well. I'm reading Snow White and Rose Red now. Also, can I say the little corner art in on the pages is quite nice. Looks like an 80s hair metal band. Yeah. Oh yes, hand cam. Then the bear began to speak.
"Don't be afraid. I won't do you any harm. I am half frozen and I only want to warm myself a little."
The bear can talk?
"Poor bear," said the mother. "Lie down near the fire, but be careful not to burn your fur. I guess it's normal for bears to talk." Then she said, "Snow White, Rose Red, come here, my children. The bear will not hurt you. He does talk, though." So So they both came closer. Little by little, the lamb and the turtle dove also approached and were not afraid of him any longer. And the bear said,
My children, would you mind brushing the snow off my fur?
So they went to get the broom and cleaned the bear's fur, a whole broom. Then he stretched out by the fire, rumbling gently with comfort and pleasure. The girls soon felt so sure of the bear that they began to tease their large guest. They pulled his fur with their hands, put their little feet on his back, rolled him from side to side, patted him with a stick, and burst out laughing when he growled. Oh my gosh, that's a lot. The bear let them play, but if it became too rough, he said,
Children, leave me in peace. Snow White, Rose Red, don't kill your sweetheart.
When it was bedtime, the girls were asleep. Their mother said to the bear, You stay the night there near the fire, and God will watch over you. The next morning, the two girls let the bear go when he asked, and he went back into the forest, shuffling through through the snow. From then on, he came back every evening at the same time to lie near the fire, and he let the girls play with him. They were so used to him by now that they did not bolt the door anymore until after their friend came in. When spring arrived and everything outside was green again, the bear said to Snow White one morning,
Now I have to leave you. You will not see me in the summer.
Where are you going, dear bear? Asked Snow White.
I have to go into the forest to protect all my treasures from the bad gnomes,
He replied.
In the winter, when the land is completely frozen, the treasure is safe, for they have to stay under the ground. Now the sun has warmed the ground and they can make holes and get out. Everything they lay their hands on is taken back to their caves and never seen again.
Bruh, sounds like menaces to society. Very nice to meet you, yes? Scream and look bigger to make sure the bear won't bite you. He seems friendly. You can tell her voice to audible readings. You can change your voice a well. Wait, really? I don't know about that. 24/7 lo-fi storytime live stream? Really? Maybe if there's enough VODs for that, I don't know. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are enjoying.
I'm also having a nice time. Snow White opened the door for him, but she was very sad because he had to leave. However, as the bear left, a little piece of his fur stuck in the latch. It seemed to Snow White that she saw gold glittering through the fur, but she was not absolutely sure. The bear left quickly, and soon he had disappeared behind the trees. Sometime later, the mother sent her children into the woods to gather twigs. On their way, they found a huge tree lying on the ground, and around the trunk they saw something jumping about between the leaves. They could not make out what it was. When they came closer, they saw it was a gnome. He had an old, wrinkled face and a long, white beard. The end of this beard was caught in a crack of the tree, and the little man was leaping from one side to the other like a chained dog, not knowing how to get out of this tangle. He stared at the two young girls with his flaming eyes and cried,
What are you standing there for? Can't you come and help me?
Little man, what are you doing there? Asked Rose Red.
You stupid noisy goose,
Answered the gnome.
I wanted to chop down this tree to get some small logs for the kitchen. The big logs burn our little plate that we use to eat from. Since we are not as greedy as you, I drove the wedge in with my axe, but the wedge was too shiny. It flew straight out, and the crack closed so quickly that I had no time to pull out my beautiful white beard. Now I am stuck. Don't laugh at me, you naughty girls. Oh, you are very unkind.
Wow, he's so grumpy.
The children tried with all their might to pull the beard out of the tree, but it was impossible. It was completely stuck. I will go and find someone else to help us, said Rose Red.
You stupid lamb, grumbled the gnome. What good would that do? There are already 2 of you here, and that's far too many. Can't you think of anything better?
Be patient, exclaimed Rose Red. We will find a solution. She took a pair of scissors from her pocket and cut the beard where it was caught. As soon as the gnome was free, he snatched up a bag filled with gold that was hidden between the roots of the tree.
Oh, there he is. There's the guy.
He hugged it tightly and moaned,
Oh, what horrible scissors that dare to cut the end off my fine beard. I hope the devil will get you, you wicked girls.
Yeah, I'd imagine he's not happy about that at all. Feels like we're in Skyrim with the music. Yes. I wanted the maximum tavern vibes and such. But yes, I'm glad you're enjoying the bedtime story.
Then he swung the bag on his back and was off, without even thanking the children. Wow. Another day later in the summer, Snow White and Rose Red decided to go fishing. When they arrived at the bank of the stream, they saw what they thought was a grasshopper jumping at the side of the water. They ran towards it and recognized the gnome. "What are you doing?" asked Rose Red. "Do you want to jump into the water?"
I am not stupid, answered the gnome. Can't you see that fish trying to drag me into the water? Oh, it is an enchanted fish, and I cannot break free of it.
This guy has so much going on. I wonder if this is karma.
The little man told the girls that he had sat down with a rod and line, but a breeze had blown up and entangled the line in his beard just when a big fish was biting it. Bruh. He wasn't able to pull it back since the fish was much stronger. The gnome tried to grab the blades of grass and rushes, but all in vain, and now he was in danger of being pulled into the water. The two girls arrived just in time. They pulled at the line and tried to release the beard, but they had no more luck than the gnome. The beard and cord were quite entangled in each other. Oh no. At last, the only thing they could think of to do was to take the scissors and cut the beard, which made it much shorter. Man. When the gnome saw this, he started to cry.
Do you have to be so stupid? Wasn't it enough to cut off the end of my beard? Now you have taken the best part away from me, and I am too embarrassed to go back to my friends.
Did you want to stay stuck forever?
I hope you will get the punishment you deserve.
Then, the ungrateful gnome picked up a bag filled with pearls that was hidden in the reeds, and without saying another word, he disappeared behind a stone.
Yeah, how strong is that fish? Hi Derek, welcome back to the stream. Hope you're doing well. I'm reading fairy tales.
A few days later, their mother sent the two young girls into town to buy some thread, needles, braid, and ribbon. The path led across a field scattered with big rocks. On their way, they saw an eagle hovering overhead. Suddenly, as they watched, it swooped down behind a rock. Just as they were wondering what the big bird had spotted, there they heard a loud and piercing shriek. The girls ran toward the noise, saw that the eagle had grabbed their old friend the gnome and was trying to fly away with him.
Bro can't catch a break.
The girls ran toward the children quickly caught hold of the gnome's jacket and held on tight. The eagle flapped. The gnome howled and the children struggled and pulled. Eventually the effort became too much for the eagle, who had to give up and let go of its prey. When the gnome had recovered from the shock, he screamed with all his might.
Couldn't you have handled me a little more carefully? You have pulled so hard on my little jacket that it's torn to shreds, you horrible, clumsy girl.
Girls.
Can we make a fantasy story of you, say? Like a fairy tale? I don't mind. I'd love to read it.
Then he picked up a bag filled with his precious stones and slipped under the rock into his cave. The young girls were used to his ungratefulness by now. At least they're still helping him. They carried on towards the town to do their shopping, thinking no more about the horrid little man. However, on their way back across the fields, they again met the gnome. He was gloating over his hoard of precious stones and had not expected anyone to pass by at the time of the evening. The sunset had made the stones sparkle, and the sight was so beautiful that the girls stopped to look.
What are you staring at with your monkey faces?
Snapped the gnome when he saw them. His pale face became as red as fire, and he began to shout more insults at them in the hope that they would decide to go away.
Who's that?
All of a sudden there was a terrible roar, and a black bear came running from the woods.
It's Friendo?
The terrified gnome tried to hide, but the bear was too fast for him and quickly caught him with his huge paws. Then he started squealing and howling.
Dear Mr. Bear, spare me. I will give you all my treasures. Don't look at the beautiful stones I have here. Don't kill me. What would you do with such a poor little man like me? You wouldn't even feel me between your teeth. Why don't you take those two wretched girls instead? They would make a delicious snack for you. They are as plump as a pair of geese. For goodness sake, eat them instead of me.
The bear did not take any notice of what the gnome said and gave him one kick which killed him instantly.
Damn.
Then the bear called out to the two frightened girls who were running away as fast as they could.
Snow White, Rose Red, don't be afraid. Wait for me, I will go with you.
Suddenly the girls recognized his voice and stopped running in delight. But when the creature came closer to them, his bearskin suddenly fell off, and in front of them instead stood a young man dressed all in gold.
Yeah, prince.
Yeah, that's powerful.
I am a prince, he said. I was bewitched by that evil gnome who stole all my treasures. He made me run through the woods in the form of a wild bear and said I would not be free of the spell until his death. Now he has received the punishment he deserved.
Now you might think that was the end of the story, but it wasn't quite. A few years later, Snow White married the prince, and Rose Red married his brother.
William. Yeah, that's how the gnome story ended.
The old mother lived with her children in peace and happiness ever after. She brought the rose bushes to the palace and planted them under the window, and every year they still bloomed with the most beautiful white and red roses in the world.
Jeez. Well, thank you for the head pats, Johnny. Have fun reading, say I'll eat like a little kid. Yeah, please rest well. I hope the stories help you have a nice sleep.
Honestly, after a long day working from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., this is a good way to come home.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy. I'm glad it can help you guys relax.
Yeah, where did that come from? I'm not sure. How did he not find the gnome before? How did he not fly and kick the gnome before?
Yeah, suddenly marriage.
Yeah, it escalated quickly.
Bro, these fairy tales, man. Excuse me. Oh, hold on.
Not sure if the playlist is looping properly.
Give me a second. Yeah, Oma.
Oh, this next one though is a
classic. Omaki.
Browser, are you good?
My browser needs a moment. Hold on. Plays can be odd sometimes. Yeah, for some reason it didn't replay or loop. Let me see. Okay. Okay, we're good. I work in nursing. It's peaceful after the chaos. Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, I remember you mentioned nursing last time. Okay, this one is a familiar one. Also, that hair is crazy. It's not even a mohawk. It's like those brooms. Hi Mark, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I am doing a book reading stream. The book title is in stream title.
It's a compilation of fairy tales.
Hansel and Gretel by the Brothers Grimm. Okay.
At the edge of a vast forest lived a poor woodcutter with his wife and 2 children. Their little boy was called Hansel and the little girl Gretel, and the family were so poor they had hardly anything to eat. Even worse, a great famine was threatening the land, and the woodcutter was finding it very hard to make a living.
I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, bird nest. One evening, when the children had gone to bed, the man sighed and said to his wife,
What is to become of us? How are we going to feed our children when we don't even have anything for ourselves?
Irresponsible parenthood. Just kidding. Oh.
Oh my goodness, thank you for the bits, Tom. Thank you. Wow. Arigato. Oh.
Well, I have a good idea, answered his wife. Tomorrow early in the morning we will take the children to the thickest and darkest place in the forest. We will light a fire for them and give them each a piece of bread. We will go to our work and leave them there. They will not be able to find the way back home, and we will be rid of them.
Damn, that's cold. Yeah, the Ghibli witch hairstyle for sure.
No, said the man, I don't want to do that. How could I abandon my children in the forest? The wild animals will eat them.
Oh, you fool, exclaimed his wife. If we don't do it, all 4 of us will starve. Is that what you want? She would give him no peace until he gave in. Hansel and Gretel were so hungry that they could not sleep, and consequently, they heard everything. They have the shocked face again. Gretel started crying and said, "Oh, Hansel, what are we going to do?" "Hush now, Gretel," said Hansel. "Don't worry. I will find a way to get us out of trouble."
He's got that Armin hair. Hi X, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, another afternoon stream. It's a different one. I'm trying out book reading. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. It's Hansel and Gretel at the moment. When his parents were asleep, Hansel got up, put on his clothes, and slipped outside. The moon was full and bright, and the little stones which lay in front of the house sparkled like little silver pieces. Hansel bent down and filled his pockets with as many of the pebbles as he could carry. Then he went back inside and whispered to Gretel, "Sleep in peace, little sister. I have a plan which will save us." And he went back to bed. Early in the morning, an hour before sunrise, the woman roused the two children, shaking them roughly.
"Wake up, you lazy children. We all have to go to the forest to gather wood," she snapped.
Then she gave each of them a little piece of bread and said,
"This is your breakfast, but don't eat it too soon, because you won't get any more food today. Damn, that's a diet."
Gretel put the 2 pieces of bread in her apron, because Hansel's pockets were full of stones. Then they set off together to the forest. Before they reached the wood, Hansel stopped to look back at the house. He did this so often that his father became curious.
"Why do you keep stopping to look at the house?"
He asked.
"Watch out you don't trip over your own legs."
"I'm looking at my white cat,"
He has a cat?
replied Hansel. "He's sitting on top of the roof and wants to say goodbye to me."
"Fool," said the woman. "That is not your little cat. Little white cat. It's only the rising sun that shines on the chimney."
But of course Hansel had really been lagging behind so that he could lay a trail with the stones, which he had hidden in his pockets. One by one, he dropped the pebbles on the ground. When they arrived in the middle of the forest, their father said, Now you two
gather some wood, and I will make you a fire so that you will not get cold."
Oni-chan? Oh.
A great form of free will is reading fairy tales to people across the planet that are going to sleep. Thank you :07S:07S:07S:07S.
Oh, thank you, Eternal. I really appreciate it. Wow, thank you so much for the super. I hope you have a nice rest. I'm glad it could help.
And it's my pleasure to do this for all of you guys. I'm just happy you guys enjoy.
But yeah, thank you so much. Okay,
Hansel and Gretel together did as he said, and soon they had made a pile of firewood as tall as a little hill. Their father lit the fire, and when the flames were burning high, his wife said,
"Children, sit close by the fire and rest. We will go further into the forest to chop trees. When we have finished, we will come back for you."
oh, thank you for the bits too, Tom. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Wow. You guys, oh my goodness. Thank you for the support, though.
Hansel and Gretel sat near the fire, and at midday they both ate their little pieces of bread. All the time they could hear the sound of an axe, so they thought that their father was not far away. But the noise did not come from an axe at all. It was only a branch which their father had fastened to a tree, blowing backwards and forwards in the winds. At last, the children's eyes closed with exhaustion, and they fell sound asleep. When they finally awoke, it was already dark. Gretel began to cry and said, "How will we find our way out of the forest?"
Wait until the moon has risen, answered Hansel hugging her.
"Then we will find our way back."
Damn. Look at them chowing down on that bread.
I wonder if there are nuts in there. As soon as the moon rose, Hansel took his little sister by the hand, and they followed the path of little stones, which glittered like silver pieces and marked the way home. It was almost daylight when they reached home. They knocked at the door, and when the woman opened it and saw it was Hansel and Gretel, she said,
"You naughty children, where have you been all night? We thought you were lost."
Damn, the acting. Their father was delighted to see them and welcomed them home into the house. But it wasn't long before, once again, the children overheard the woman complaining to their father.
There's the stones here. You just said Hansel in the most Southern American voice I've ever heard. Really? Magnificent. I know about that. I'm glad you enjoy.
We only have half a loaf of bread, and after that is finished, there's nothing left to eat. We have to get rid of the children. We will take them even further into the forest so they cannot find their way back. There is no other solution.
Their father was heartbroken and thought it would be better to share the last piece of bread with the children instead of sending them away. But the woman did not want to hear any more about it and started to scold him until at last he gave in again. When their parents were asleep, Hansel got up and went to gather stones as he had done before. But this time, the door was locked and Hansel could not go outside. Nevertheless, he comforted his little sister and said, "Don't worry, I will find a way to get us out of trouble." Early in the morning, the woman got the children out of bed and gave them each a little piece of bread, even smaller than the last time. When they walked to the forest, Hansel kept stopping to drop crumbs on the ground, crumbled from the bread he had in his pocket.
He really should have stuck with the stones. But yeah, this was damning bead. It's coming from a Northern American. That was awesome. Really? Well, I'm glad.
Hansel, why do you keep lagging behind?
Said his father.
Hurry up.
I am looking at my pigeon that is sitting on the top of the roof and wants to say goodbye to me.
His excuses, bro.
You fool, exclaimed the woman. That is not your pigeon. It is only the rising sun lighting up the chimney.
Hansel continued to secretly drop breadcrumbs along the
Along the path. Goodness gracious.
Deeper and deeper into the forest they were taken, where they had never been before in their lives. As before, their father lit a big fire for them, and the woman said,
"Stay here by the fire. We are going into the forest to chop trees, and in the evening when we are finished, we will come to take you home again."
At midday, Gretel shared her piece of bread with Hansel, who had crumbled his piece along the road. Then they went to sleep. They did not awake until it was dark, and no one came to fetch them. Hansel comforted his little sister by saying, "Wait, Gretel, until the moon has risen. Then we will be able to see the crumbs I have scattered."
Yeah, ain't no way.
Foreshadowing, yeah.
That's them in the forest. Sleeping.
They will show us the way home. When the moon rose, they got up, but they could not find any crumbs because the birds that lived in the forest had eaten them all. "Never mind, we'll find the way back ourselves," said Hansel, but they could not find it. They walked the entire night, and even the next day from sunrise to sunset, without finding their way out of the forest. They were very hungry, for they had not had anything to eat other than a few wild strawberries that they found growing by the path. At last, they were so tired that their legs could not carry them any longer, so they lay down under a tree and fell asleep. Next day, they tried again to find their way home, but still they only went deeper and deeper into the forest. Near midday, they saw a beautiful bird, as white as snow, perched on a branch and singing so beautifully that the children almost forgot their hunger as they stopped to listen. Then the bird spread its wings and flew away. The children followed the bird to a little house. When they came closer, they saw with amazement that the little house was made of gingerbread and cakes, and the windows were made of brown sugar.
Damn, so much sweetness.
"This is just what we need," said Hansel. "We will make a good meal from it. I'm going to start with the roof. Gretel, why don't you try some of the window?"
Yeah.
I guess if you're hungry. Hansel climbed onto the roof and broke off a piece, while Gretel began to lick the window.
What a visual. Oh, there they go. But alas.
Gosh, that window actually looks like glass.
Well.
Suddenly a soft voice came from inside.
"Nibble, nibble, mouse. Who is nibbling at my little house?"
And the children answered, the wind, only the wind." They carried on eating without another thought, as they were still very hungry. Hansel, who liked the taste of the roof, tore down a large piece of it, and Gretel pushed out an entire window pane, which she then began to nibble. Damn.
Yeah, lick window.
No. Suddenly the door opened, and an old, bent woman came creeping out. Hansel and Gretel were so frightened that they dropped their sweets. The old woman nodded her head and said, "My dear children, however did you get here? Come inside and stay with me in my house. You will enjoy it here." She took both children by the hand and led them into the little house. There she gave them a delicious meal, milk and pancakes with sugar, apples, and nuts. Wow, that sounds really nice. Then she prepared 2 little beds in which Hansel and Gretel were soon fast asleep, thinking they were in heaven. Now this old woman seemed very friendly, but in reality she was a mean witch who caught and ate little children. She had built her little house of gingerbread to trap them, then she fed them until they were fat enough to eat.
Oh, thank you so much for the bits again, Tom. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness.
This witch didn't have very good eyesight, but then she had an excellent sense of smell. When she smelled Hansel and Gretel approaching the house, ooh, she laughed an evil cackle and cried, "They will not escape." Ooh. The next morning, she woke Hansel, grabbed him with her shriveled...
Excuse me, I hiccup. Oh,
Okay. Then took him to a small stable where she locked him up behind a door with bars for a window. Then she went back to Gretel and shook her until she awoke.
"Get up, you lazy child," she cried. "Go and get me some water so I can cook something nice for your brother. He is in the stable and has to be fattened up. As soon as he is fat enough, I will eat him."
Why are you telling her this? Why are you monologuing your evil intentions?
Thank you for being you say only you can make simple book reading fun. Oh really? Oh, I'm glad you think so. I do my best.
They will not escape my hospitality. Aggressive hospitality. Gretel began to weep, but all in vain. She was forced to do what the witch had ordered. The witch then prepared Hansel some of the best food, but to Gretel she only gave crab shells. What is this discrimination? Every morning, the old woman crept into the stable and cried,
"Hansel, stretch out your finger so I can feel if you have become fat."
But Hansel stretched out a little bone he had found on the floor, and because the witch was short-sighted, she thought that it was his finger and was surprised that he was not getting any fatter. 4 weeks passed by in this way. Hansel remained thin, and eventually her impatience got the better of her. One day, she decided that she could not wait any longer.
"Hurry up, Gretel. Bring me some water,"
she ordered the young girl.
"Whether Hansel is fat or thin, I will kill him and cook him tomorrow."
Gretel wept and wept. She just cried.
I'm not gonna do anything about it. "If the wild beasts in the forest had eaten us, we would have at least died together," she sobbed. "Spare me your whining," said the witch. "It will not help you in any way."
The following morning, Gretel had to fill the big cooking pot with water and light the fire. She is just doing everything she's being told to do.
First we will bake some bread,"
said the witch.
"I have heated the oven and kneaded the dough."
It's eat or be eaten world. Yeah.
You do a good stereotypical grandma voice. Yeah, I do like doing the grandma voice sometimes. when the situation calls for it.
She pushed poor Gretel towards the burning flames that came out of the oven.
"Creep inside to see whether it's warm enough so we can put the bread in."
Gretel guessed that once she was inside, the witch would close the door and roast her to eat as well. So she scratched her head and pretended to look puzzled.
"I don't know how to get inside," she said.
"Oh, you stupid goose," said the witch.
"The opening is big enough. You see, even I fit inside it myself."
She put her head into the oven door. Gretel immediately gave a great shove and pushed the old witch right inside the hot oven. Then she shut the iron door and fastened the bolt. That soon put an end to the evil witch. Gretel ran quickly to Hansel, opened the stable door and cried, "Hansel, we are free! The old witch is dead!" How they danced with joy and hugged each other. Then, as they had nothing to be afraid of any longer, they went through the entire house. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, here's the art for when she got pooshed. Hi Specs, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Yes, it is story time.
Gretel was playing the long game.
She was. Please say in your grandma's voice. Oh, when I was your age, a chocolate was a quarter.
Oh my gosh. Also, is that sponge cake that they're standing on? Playing dumb in obedience so the witch doesn't suspect her at all. That's true!
It's actually a pretty good strat.
Where they found all sorts of precious pearls and stones.
She's loaded.
Laughing, the two children gathered up as much treasure as they could carry. Hansel filled his pockets and Gretel filled her apron. Now let's go quickly. I'm sure we will now be able to find our way out of this bewitched forest, said Hansel. After they had walked through the forest for an hour or two, the children arrived at a great river. We will not be able to get over to the other side, said Hansel. I don't see a bridge or raft. There's not even a boat, agreed Gretel. But look, there's a white duck. If I ask it kindly, perhaps it will help us to cross the river.
I didn't realize that there were like logistics of how to get home after
after the whole burn the witch part.
And she cried, little duck, do you see? Hansel and Gretel are waiting for thee. There's never a plank or bridge in sight. Take us across on your back so white.
The duck swam towards them right away, and Hansel seated himself on its back. He wanted his sister to sit next to him. No, said Gretel. Both of us will be too heavy for the duck. It will take us across one by one. Still, that's a really strong duck.
Nice, SpongeBob. Oh yeah,
the chocolate granny. When they were both safely on the other side of the river, they started walking again. As they walked, the forest became more familiar, and the children began to see things that they recognized. Wait.
How did they not find their way before?
At last they gave a glad cry as they saw the clearing where their own home was. Then the children began to run. They burst into the house and flung their arms around their father's neck.
Or maybe they were too hungry to
go around well enough. The man was overjoyed to see his children safe and sound. He had not known one happy hour since he had left them behind in the forest, and his wife was now dead. What happened there?
How did she die?
What? Gretel emptied her apron pocket, and the pearls and precious stones rolled around the room. Hansel threw one handful of jewels after another out of his pocket. At last, all their worries were over. From that day on, the family never knew a hungry day, and they all lived together in perfect happiness. Damn. Yeah, that escalated quickly. I don't know, for some reason, I thought it would end with the father having left the wife or something for her attitude, but I guess she just died.
Yeah, the endings in these versions are crazy. But yeah, that was Hansel and Gretel.
This next one is actually, I think this is probably one of the saddest ones in this book. The Little Match Girl by... The Little Match Girl by Hans Christian Andersen. It was the last night of the year, New Year's Eve, and it was so terribly cold. It was snowing and soon it would be dark. Through the cold and the darkness, a poor little girl wandered in the street, with bare feet and no scarf for her head. She had indeed worn slippers when she left home, but they were not much use. They were very, very big slippers that her mother had worn before her. They were so big that the little girl had lost them rushing to cross the street in between two carts. The ugly barnacle. One of the slippers was nowhere to be found, and the other was taken by a boy who intended to use it as a cradle when he had children of his own. Huh?
They were that big? Damn.
The little girl wandered along in her bare feet, which were blue with cold. She was carrying several matches in her old apron and was holding one bundle in her hand. It had been a bad day, and she had not earned a single penny. She was very hungry and very cold, and looked very frail. Poor little girl! Lights were glittering from all the windows, and there was a wonderful smell of roasting meat along the whole street. All the little girl could think of was that it was New Year's Eve. She sat down and tried to warm herself in a corner between two houses. It grew colder and colder, but she did not dare to go home, for she would have to take back all the matches, but not one penny. Her father would beat her, and, besides, it would be cold at home as well. They only lived in a little hut, and the wind blew right through it, even though the biggest cracks had been stuffed with straw and rags. Her little hands were almost dead with cold. A lighted match would at least do some good. Maybe she would dare to take just one out of the... is that a cat or a dog? Oh my god.
But yeah, there she is. In the midst of all the people walking. Depression ahead, yeah. They all died. Oh no.
Bundle. Strike it against the wall and warm her fingers. And so she took one. Whoosh! How it sparkled. How it burned. It was a gentle, warm flame, just like a little candle when she held her hand around it. But what a strange light. It seemed to the little girl as if she was sitting in front of a huge iron stove with polished brass knobs and gleaming pots and pans. The fire was magnificent and gave out so much warmth. The child had just stretched her feet out to warm them when the flame went out and the stove disappeared. She hallucinating, oh no. She was sitting there with only a little burnt match end in her hand.
Man.
Yeah, this is a really sad one. The girl struck another match which burned and glowed. Where the light fell on the wall, it became transparent like gauze. The child could see into a room where a table was covered with a white cloth and set with fine china. There was a roast goose stuffed with prunes and apples, which filled the room with a delicious smell. What a surprise! Suddenly, the goose jumped from its plate and rolled on the floor, straight to the poor girl with the fork and knife still in its back.
Jesus. So hold on. The playlist is hanging. Give me a second.
The art, though.
Would you look at that?
And the match went out, and there was nothing to see but a thick, cold wall.
Oh no.
I felt really bad for her when I read this one. Well, every time, even now. She struck a third match. Immediately she found herself sitting under a magnificent Christmas tree. It was even bigger and more beautifully decorated than the one she had seen through the glass doors at the rich merchant's house last Christmas. 1,000 candles were burning on the green branches, and it seemed as if all the colorful figures were smiling at her. Oh no. The little girl held up both hands, and the match went out. The Christmas candles rose higher and higher, and then she realized they were just stars. One of them fell and made a long streak of fire in the sky. "Someone is dying," whispered the little girl for her old grandmother, who was the only one who had ever been kind to her, but who had died, used to say to her. "If you see a falling star, it means that a soul is going up to heaven." She struck another match against the wall, which made a great light. This time, in the middle of that brightness, she saw her grandmother. She looked so sweet and so shining. "Oh, Granny, take me with you," cried the girl. "When the match goes out, I know you won't be there any longer. You'll disappear just like the iron stove, the roasted goose, and the beautiful Christmas tree." She suddenly struck the rest of the bundle because she wanted to keep her grandmother, and the matches shone so gloriously that it was brighter than daylight. Never before had her grandmother seemed so tall and so beautiful. She took the little girl in her arms, and they both flew away in radiant joy, higher and higher until there was no more cold, no more hunger, and no more suffering. They were in paradise. There they go.
Oh, it's me sad, but they make this way too precious. Oh. It is a sad story, though.
In the cold early morning, the little girl was still sitting in the corner between two houses. Her cheeks were red and she had a smile on her lips. She was dead, frozen to death on New Year's Eve. New Year's morning rose over her little body, sitting there with the matches, one bundled almost completely burnt up. She just wanted to keep herself warm, someone said. But no one knew what beautiful things she had seen, nor in what radiance she had entered the new year with her old grandmother.
Man, so sad. So yeah, that was the little match girl. Hi, Uncle. Welcome back to the stream. Yes, it is comfy reading time. I'm reading fairy tales from Treasury of Fairy Tales here. But yeah. Well, probably one of the sadder stories in this compilation. This next one though is Puss in Boots by Christian Perrault. Yeah, man. Hopefully this one won't be so sad.
Once there was a miller who, when he died, had nothing to leave his children but his mill, his donkey, and his cat. The property was soon divided without involving a lawyer or a judge, since their fees would have taken the whole meager inheritance.
Damn, that was kind of real.
The eldest son had the mill, the second son had the donkey, and the youngest only had the cat.
I'd be happy with the cat.
The third son was not happy with such a small inheritance. My brothers can earn an honest living by working together, he said. But as for me, once I have eaten the cat and made myself a scarf out of his skin, what shall I do? The cat overheard his speech and drew himself up in a dignified manner. Oh my gosh.
I low-key want to do an Antonio Banderas, but I don't think I can do it.
And the storybook's quite wild. There's a lot of them.
Don't worry, my master. You only need to give me a drawstring bag and have a pair of boots made for me so I can go through thick and undergrowth. You will see that you are not half as badly off as you thought.
That cat is talking, sir. Although the cat's master did not have much confidence in this promise, he decided he would try anything to escape being poor. And after all, he had seen his cat perform cunning tricks in order to catch rats and mice. When the cat was given what he had asked for, he put on the boots. Then he put some grain and lettuce in the bag, slung the bag over his shoulder, and set off for a den, where he knew there was a large number of rabbits. There he stretched out on the ground as if he were dead, then waited for some young innocent rabbit to go into his bag to eat the bait. He had no sooner lain down when his plan worked. A young rabbit was tempted into the bag, where the clever cat trapped it by immediately pulling the drawstrings. Very proud of his catch, he went to the palace to seek an audience with the king.
Oh, straight to the king? Hi, Super Mario. I'm not a human fox, though. I am a star fox. Yeah, that's a real hustler.
He was taken to his majesty's room, where he bowed deeply and said,
Majesty, here is a wild rabbit I am commanded to present to you in the name of Marquis de Caraba.
Carabas? Or the Caraba? This was the name he had made up for his master.
It's in parentheses. This one.
Tell your master that I am very pleased and that I thank him, replied the king.
A few days later the cat hid in a wheat field and set his trap again. When 2 partridges wandered into the bag, he pulled the strings and caught them both. Then he went to the king as he had done with the wild rabbit. The king accepted the 2 partridges with great pleasure and gave the cat something to drink.
Is it milk?
The cat continued in this way for 2 or 3 months. Damn, the hustle. Visiting the king from time to time to take him game supposedly from his master's hunting. One day, when he heard that the king was going for a drive along the riverbank with his daughter, the most beautiful princess in the world, the cat said to his master,
If you would follow my advice, your fortune is made. You only have to bathe in the river at the place I will show you, and then let me do the rest.
I can't. He also has almond hair.
Oh my goodness. You read that with so much confidence. I never thought the pronunciation was wrong if it was. Yeah, I have no idea.
While he was, the young man did what the cat advised him, although he wondered what good it would do him. While he was bathing, the king passed by and the cat started to shout at the top of his voice, Help! Help! My master, the Marquis de Caraba, is drowning here! When the king heard this cry, he put his head out of the carriage window and recognized the cat who had brought him game so many times. He ordered his guards to rescue the Marquis.
Oh, he doesn't look like he's in trouble. Yeah, goofy cleric hair.
While the poor young man was being pulled out of the river, the cat approached the carriage and told the king that some wicked thieves had stolen his master's clothes. The cat had, in fact, hidden them under a big stone. The king immediately ordered his master of the wardrobe to pick out one of his most beautiful suits for the Marquis de Carabas. Carabas? I'll just say Carabas. The king paid the young man a lot of attention, and the beautiful clothes that were given to him emphasized his handsome face and figure. He was handsome this whole time? The king's daughter admired him with great deal. Indeed, it wasn't long before she was completely in love with him. Well, that was fast. The king invited the Marquis to get into the carriage to join them for the rest of the trip. The cat was delighted to see that his plan had started to work, but there was still a great deal to do. He's like the best wingman. Wing cat? He ran on ahead and soon came across some farmers cutting hay in a meadow.
Listen, farmers, he said. If you do not tell the king that the field you are working in belongs to the Marquis de Carabas, you will all be chopped up as fine meat for hamburgers.
The cat is quite threatening, I guess. Sure enough, when the king arrived, he asked the farmers whose field they were working on.
It belongs to Marquis de Carabas.
They all replied.
You have a considerable inheritance there, said the king to the Marquis de Carabas.
As you can the young man, okay.
As you can see, Majesty, it is a meadow which provides for an abundant crop every single year.
The BS, answered the young man, though he had been truly astonished by their words.
You got such a clear and good accent, you never know. I do my best.
The ingenious cat, still walking ahead, next encountered some harvesters and told them,
Listen, harvesters, if you do not say that all this... Hold on.
Oh, is that the king?
That all this wheat belongs to the Marquis de Carabas. You will be ground up as fine meat for hamburgers.
I didn't think hamburgers existed back then, actually, now that I think about it. The king, who passed by a moment later, asked to whom all the wheat belonged.
It belongs to the Marquis de Carabas,
answered the harvesters, and the king was even more delighted with the young man. The cat, who walked well ahead of the carriage, kept on saying the same thing to everyone he encountered, and the king was astonished to see the immense wealth of the Marquis de Carabas.
Isn't this his kingdom? How is he not aware of who owns the land?
Or maybe he gets his advisors to know that stuff. Finally, the artful cat arrived at a beautiful castle belonging to an ogre.
An ogre?
Hi Otto, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well, posting hamburgers.
If English is your second language, say that's honestly pure intelligence. However, you can read English clear. I don't know about that. I guess it's just practice. I've been speaking it for quite a long time.
Classic noble doesn't know what his own fields look like exactly.
Classic.
An ogre. Indeed, all the land the king had been driving through was part of the estate of this castle. The cat knew this and asked to speak to the ogre. The ogre received him as courteously as an ogre can and asked him to sit down. Wait, is that the ogre?
That don't look ogre to me.
Where's my green Shrek guy? Just kidding.
I have been informed, said the cat, that you possess the gift of being able to change yourself into all sorts of animals, and that you could transform yourself, for example, into a lion or an elephant. That is true, answered the ogre brusquely, and just to show you I will change into a lion.
The cat was so terrified to see a lion before him that he jumped for the nearest rafter to reach.
Oh, there he is.
There's the lion. Oh my gosh, the pants are part of his butt.
Oh my goodness.
This is like, you know how the in-between frames of Animorphs? Oh no.
Ogres have layers. Like an artichoke.
Or an onion? I forgot what it was. Oh my gosh.
The art though. Look at that full spread. Okay.
Safety of the roof. But the boots he was wearing made it difficult and dangerous. When the ogre had changed back again, he came down and licked his ruffled fur.
I also have been informed, continued the cat, that you have the power to take the form of smaller animals. For example, that you can change yourself into a rat or a mouse. I find this almost impossible to believe. Uh-oh. Impossible? Wait and see, exclaimed the ogre.
At once, he changed himself into a mouse and started running across the floor. The cat no sooner saw the mouse than he pounced and caught it and ate it. How did he not see this coming? In the meantime, the king had arrived at the ogre's castle and wanted to call on the owner. Hearing the sound of the carriage rumbling across the drawbridge, the cat ran towards it and said to the king, "Your Majesty, welcome to the castle of the Marquis de Carabas."
What? Monsieur le Marquis?
Cried the king.
The castle also belongs to you. I had never seen anything more beautiful than this courtyard and all the buildings around it. Let us see inside, please.
I wonder if he knew the ogre or not. That book is gorgeous though. Yeah, there's so much detail, and it's great. I love this book. I guess that's the prince and the well, not prince yet, but the marquis and the princess. The young man gave the princess his hand and followed the king into a large room where a magnificent meal was laid out. Oh wow! The ogre had had this meal prepared for his friends who should have been visiting him that day, but who had not dared to approach the castle knowing the king was there. Imagine if they crashed the party and outed the entire thing. Both the king and his daughter were quite charmed by the excellent qualities of the Marquis de Carabas. Having also seen the wealth the Marquis possessed, the king at last said to him,
I see no reason why, if you agree, that you should not be my son-in-law, Monsieur le Marquis.
The Marquis, bowing low. It's not even just the young man, it's Marquis now. Accepted the honor the king did him, and that very day he married the princess. Damn. The clever cat was given the title Great Lord and never again ran after mice, except for fun. Well, so that was Puss in Boots. Look at those boots though, so fancy. So yeah, that was Puss in Boots. This next one is one of my favorite stories to read in this one, in this compilation. It's called All's Well That Ends Well. It is by Hans Christian Andersen. I will tell you a story that I heard when I was a little boy. Each time I recall the end of the story, it seems to get better. In fact, there are some stories like some people. They seem to get more beautiful as they grow older. Once there were two old farms. Two very old farms? Very two old farms. Whoopsies. Two very old farms, each with thatched roofs covered with grass and moss, and each with a stork's nest on the roof. The walls leaned to the right and to the left. There were only 2 or 3 low windows, and all of them were stuck fast but one. The oven stuck out of the wall like a fat tummy. Excuse me. A honeysuckle grew out of the hedge, and under its branches was a duck pond. A watchdog barked at everyone passing by. In one of these cottages lived an old couple, a farmer and his wife. They possessed almost nothing in the world except for a horse which ate grass from the ditches at the side of the road. The farmer always rode the horse when he went to the city. His neighbors often borrowed the horse, and in return, they helped the good man with all kinds of jobs. However, he thought that it would be better to get rid of the horse. He decided to sell it or exchange it for something that would be even more useful to them, whatever it might be. "Something you appreciate more than anyone else does," said his wife. "Today there is a fair in the city. Go there with the horse. You will make a profit by selling it, or you can exchange it for something else. Anything you do is fine with me, so get ready to go." She put a beautiful scarf around his neck, which she tied with a very stylish double knot. She smoothed out his hat with the palm of her hand and gave him a big kiss. And he rode off into the town on the horse to sell or exchange it. Yes, the old man knows what he's doing. Oh, it's the wife. "He knows how to do business better than anyone else," said his wife, as she waved goodbye. The sun was blazing and there was not a cloud in the sky. The wind blew up the dust from the road along which all kinds of people hurried to get to the city. By cart, on horse, or on foot. They were all very hot, but there was no inn to be seen. Among these people walked a man, leading a cow to the market. It was as beautiful as a cow can be. Beige cow. And that's the horse. Wait, it's like the meme looking back. The looking back at the other girl meme.
She must give delicious milk, thought the farmer. Now that would be a splendid exchange. That superb cow in return for my horse.
He called out,
You there, the man with the cow. I have an offer for you. A horse, I know, costs much more than a cow, but that makes no difference to me. A cow will give me more profit than a horse. Would you like to exchange your cow for my horse? I would be delighted, answered the man, and they exchanged their animals. Well, that had been taken care of, and the old farmer could have returned home because he had finished the business he had set out to do. But because he had looked forward to seeing the fair, he decided to go to the city anyway. He continued the journey with his cow, and, as he was walking briskly, it wasn't long before he joined up with another man leading a sheep of a rare breed, with a thick, woolly fleece. Now there's a beautiful animal I would like to have, said the farmer to himself. A sheep will find all the grass it needs along our hedges. During the winter we can keep it in the house. That will be a nice distraction for my dear wife. A sheep will be better for us than a cow.
I don't know about that. Well, that's cow looking at sheep.
He called out to the owner of the sheep.
Hello, friend. Would you like to swap?
The man did not need to be asked twice. Oh no. He rushed to take the cow and left the sheep behind. The old farmer continued on his journey with the sheep. A little further on, he saw a man carrying a live goose under his arm. It was a fine, fat goose, a goose you wouldn't find just anywhere. The old farmer admired it.
Now there you have a nice creature, he said, walking up to the man. That bird is extraordinary, so much fat, and such beautiful feathers.
The farmer couldn't stop thinking about that goose.
If it lived at our house, I bet my dear wife would find a way of making it even fatter. We could give it all the leftovers. What a size it would get. I remember my wife often saying, if we had a goose, that would be so nice, together with all our ducks. There's perhaps the chance to get one, and one that is worth two. Listen, my friend, he said, would you like to trade with me? Oh, take my sheep, and give me your goose in return. I ask nothing more.
The man did not have to be asked twice either, and the old farmer became the owner of the goose. By this time he was close to the city. The crowd became bigger. Men and animals hurried along the road. Oh yeah, this is the sheep and the goose. There were even people walking in the ditches along the field hedges. At the fair gate, everyone pushed to get in. The city's tax collector held up a chicken. Seeing such a crowd, he fastened the chicken on a string so that it would not get frightened and run away. She perched on the gate and ruffled her clipped wings. She winked with her eye like a mischievous animal and said, "Cluck, cluck." I didn't know that chickens could wink. Was she thinking about something? I wouldn't know, but the farmer began to laugh as soon as he noticed her.
She's even more beautiful than the pastor's brood hen, he chuckled. And she looks so funny. No one could look at her without bursting into laughter. Goodness, I would love to have her. A chicken is the easiest animal to keep. She doesn't have to be looked after. She would feed herself with grain and crumbs picked from the ground. I think that if I could exchange my goose for her, I would make an excellent deal.
Well, there's the chicken.
He approached the tax collector.
Would you like to exchange? He said, showing him his goose. Exchange, answered the man. That would be perfect.
The tax collector accepted the goose, and the old farmer took the chicken. The farmer had done quite a bit of business during the journey, and now he was very hot and tired. He needed something to drink and to eat, so he went into an inn. The boy was just leaving, carrying a bag filled to the brim.
What are you carrying there?
Asked the farmer. A bag of stunted apples that I am going to feed to the pigs, replied the boy.
What did you say? Stunted apples for the pigs? That is a wasteful extravagance. My dear wife does great things with stunted apples. How happy she would be with all those. Last year our old apple tree next to the stable did not give a single fruit. We will place them in the cupboard and save them until they have ripened. That is a sign that one feels comfortable, my wife says. What will she say if she has a bag full of apples? I would love to do her that favor. Oh no.
Also, what are these eyes that the goose is giving? What is that? Oh my goodness. Oh, hi Nick, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that Master Chief could be so big in the Twitch chat. Oh yeah, hi, how are you doing? I'm reading some fairy tales. This one's called All's Well That Ends Well. It's from this book, Treasury of Fairy Tales. Yeah, that's I don't know about angry. I think she's giving you bedroom eyes. I finally caught you after months. Yeah, hi, welcome back. I hope you've been doing well. It's the afternoon for me right now, like 2:41 p.m. Now that I want to buy all your chocolate. You want some chocolate?
Well, what would you give in return for the... Oh, it's a boy. Well, what would you give in return for the bag? Asked the boy.
What would I give you? The chicken, of course. Isn't that enough?
Said the farmer. They exchanged their goods straight away, and the farmer walked into the inn with his bag, which he carefully placed beside the stove. Then he had a drink. The stove was hot, but the farmer did not notice. Uh-oh.
An awesome intro. Awesome new model. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I debuted it this early this year. Basically first stream of the year. and I started multi-streaming as well. So I thank you so much for tuning in. Hi Gla, welcome back to the stream. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. Gla. Wow, how do you make the emote so big? Oh my goodness, that's so cool. Wow.
But yeah, I'm reading All's Well That Ends Well. It's by Hans Christian Andersen, I believe. There were many people in the inn. Horse traders, cattlemen, and also 2 French travelers. Oui, oui. The French men were so rich that their pockets were chock full with gold pieces, and how they loved to bet, as you will see. Suddenly the stove began to make a strange noise. It was the apples starting to cook. Oh no, it was one of the French guys.
I don't know how to French.
Trying to channel Claire Expedition. Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
What is that?
Asked one of the Frenchmen.
Ah, my apples,
Said the farmer, and he told the Frenchman the story of the horse that he had traded for a cow and so on, until he was left with the apples.
Well, she will be furious, your missus, when you go home, they said.
Not at all, said the farmer.
She will embrace me no matter what happens, and she will say, what the old man does is always right. All's well that ends well.
Title drop?
Also, yeah, of course, I've been playing with Lucy. She brought me Sonic Cross Worlds. Oh, I hope you guys are having fun. You know who else is cooked? Oh no.
Wait, hold on. My playlist is it's not looping for some reason.
Just give me a moment. But yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying Sonic Crash Worlds.
You want to bet, said the Frenchman. We will bet all the gold you want. 100 pounds worth or 100 kilos.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of gold.
They have that on hand? Ooh.
One satchel will be enough, replied the farmer. The only thing I can place as a bet in return is my bag of apples. I'd say that is a good exchange. What do you think, gentlemen?
Oh.
All right, that is good enough. We accept.
The bet was made. The 3 men borrowed the innkeeper's cart, climbed into it, and very soon...
full spread! Oh yeah, Lucy was playing since the beta. I ended up meeting her multiple times in the same night on my first time playing. Damn, you didn't hold back.
It was Mario Kart all over again.
Yeah, I heard it's really good and really fun. I did see she streamed the beta a lot as well. Well, would you look at that? Wait. That horse! Why do the animals have such sus faces?
But yeah, I guess this is the farmer and these 2 are the Frenchmen. They arrived at the little rustic farm.
Good evening, my dear, said the farmer, entering the cottage.
Good evening to you, my darling, replied his wife.
I have exchanged the horse.
Ah, you do now know how to do business, said the woman, and she embraced him without paying any attention to the bag of apples or the strangers.
She don't care.
I exchanged the horse for a cow, said the farmer.
Thank heavens! The good milk we will have, and the butter and the cheese. That is a wonderful exchange, cried his wife.
Yes, but then I traded the cow for a sheep, continued the farmer.
Well, that is even better, smiled his wife. We have enough grass to feed the sheep, and she will give us milk too. I love sheep cheese. And above all that, I will have wool which I can use to knit stockings and nice warm jackets. Oh, we couldn't get all that from a cow. You think of everything.
It is not the end yet, my dear. I exchanged this sheep for a goose.
Well then, we will have a lovely roast goose for Christmas this year. My dear husband, you always think of what would please me the most. Well done! From now until Christmas we will have time to make it nice and fat.
Yeah, Lucy gets frustrated because I end up overtaking her in almost all the games we play together during the first play session. Oh no! Sounds like fun though. I'm glad you guys are having fun.
I don't have this goose anymore. I have taken a chicken in return, continued the farmer. A chicken has its value, nodded his wife. A chicken lays eggs. She sits on them and little chicks will hatch out that will grow up and soon we will have a poultry. A real farmyard. That has always been my dream.
Is this her dream? That looks kind of good, not gonna lie, but I don't know why this thing is fuzzy. What is that?
It is not there anymore, dear wife. I exchanged it for a bag of stunted apples.
Really? Is that true? Gasped his wife. But now I will kiss you, my dear husband. Do you want to hear what happened this morning? You had just left and I began to think about what I could make you for your dinner tonight. Eggs with butter and onions was the best I could think of. Well, I had the eggs and the butter, but I didn't have any onions. So I went to the school principal who grows them and I talked to his wife. You know how mean she is, although she looks so sweet. I begged her to lend me a handful of onions. Lend, she exclaimed. But we don't have anything in our garden, no onions, not even any stunted apples. I am really sorry, my neighbor. So I came home again. Tomorrow I will offer her the stunted apples because she doesn't have any. I will offer her the whole bag. She will be so embarrassed. I am looking forward to seeing her face already. Oh my gosh. She really just wanted to shove it in her face. Can't get over how cool that keyboard is. Oh, I'm glad you like my keyboard. It's Japan themed. There's the Great Wave and Mount Fuji and such. She flung her arms around her husband's neck and gave him smacking kisses, almost as if she were kissing a child.
Well, well, said the two Frenchmen. The fallen value has not changed her good mood, or even a second. I think you have won your bet, friend.
They gave the farmer a satchel of gold. His wife was even more delighted with it after all that bargaining, and the man was suddenly richer than if he had sold his horse 10 times at 30 times its value. Wow.
Jeez.
That is the story that I was told when I was a little child, and it seems very sensible to me. Now you know it as well, and never forget it. What the old man does is always right, and all's well that ends well.
Jeez. Oh,
he was really lucky with that one.
although it's kind of nice that the wife was happy with whatever he came back with. So yeah, that was all's well that ends well. And this next one, I'm sure you guys might have heard of before. The Princess and the Pea by Hans Christian Andersen again. Once upon a time, there was a prince who wanted to marry a princess, but she had to be a real princess, so he traveled around the world to find one. There were a great many princesses, but he was never sure whether they truly were real princesses. There was always something not quite right about them. There was always something not... oh, I already read that. At last he returned home very unhappy because he could not find what he was looking for. One evening there was a terrible storm with thunder and lightning, and rain pouring down in torrents. It was dreadful. Suddenly there was a loud knocking at the castle door, and the king hurried to open it. There on the doorstep, oh my gosh, was a princess. But what a sight! She was drenched. Water ran down from her hair and her clothes. It ran down into the tops of her shoes and out of the toes. Nevertheless, she insisted that she was a real princess. Oh, it's like the classic dress with the poofy, circly collars. Honestly, love Japan. My nurse friend from the Philippines went to Japan and brought back an authentic Japanese magnet for me and a cool mural on it. Yeah, I love Japan. I've been a few times and it's just so nice. I like the vibes and the culture.
We will soon find out, thought the queen, eyeing the bedraggled girl.
However, she said nothing and went to prepare a bedroom for the unexpected guest. She stripped all the bedding off and placed a pea on the base of the bed. And she took 20 mattresses and laid them on the pea, after which she then laid 20 eider-down quilts on top of that. That's a lot. Then the queen showed the princess where she had to spend the night, and the girl climbed in thankfully. The next morning the king and queen asked her how she had slept. "Oh, terribly badly," she said. "I hardly shut my eyes the whole night. Goodness knows what was in the bed. It was something very hard, and I am black and blue all over."
Damn. What a princess indeed. Look, that's a big pea though. That pea's kind of big.
Although, I wonder how she managed to get in the bed. Did they have a ladder?
Or did you just climb up like...
By this answer, the queen knew she was a real princess.
I don't know if I'd be able to tell there was a giant pea down there.
Only a princess would be sensitive enough to feel a pea through 20 mattresses and 20 eiderdown quilts. The prince at long last had found his real princess whom he married, and the pea was placed in the museum where it can still be seen today, if it has not been stolen.
I wonder if every princess that they found,
every quote-unquote princess that they found, went through the mattress test.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, that one was a really short one.
This next one is a classic. Beauty and the Beast.
By...
Meh?
Is that short for Madame?
Madame le Prince de Beaumont? Beauty and the Beast.
Once upon a time, there was a rich merchant. He had 6 children, 3 boys and 3 girls. His daughters were very beautiful, but the youngest was admired the most. She was called Beauty because the name suited her, which made her sisters green with envy. And if this were not enough, she was also more intelligent than her sisters.
She winning, really.
One day, the merchant lost everything he owned except for a little cottage far away from the city. In tears, he told his children that they would have to move to the cottage and that, from now on, they would have to make a living by farming. And so they moved into the cottage, and the merchant and his 3 sons became farmers and learned to work the land. Each morning, Beauty would wake up at 4 o'clock and hurry to clean the house and make breakfast for the family. When she had finished the housework, she spent her time reading, playing the harpsichord, or singing. Damn.
Lots of hobbies.
In contrast, her 2 sisters were always bored. They didn't wake until 10 o'clock in the morning. Then they would go for long walks and pass their time talking about all the friends and beautiful clothes they'd once had. They looked with scorn and jealousy on Beauty's simple pleasures.
Man, I guess this version she had like evil actual siblings.
"Look at our youngest sister," they said to each other. "She's so stupid that she is happy in her misery." When they had been in the cottage for about a year, the merchant received a letter telling him of a ship which would make his fortune. In haste, he made ready to travel on the long journey to the port. The good news made the 2 elder sisters excited. When their father was ready to leave, they danced around him and begged him to bring them new dresses and all kinds of presents. Beauty, however, said nothing.
"Don't you want me to buy you anything?" asked her father.
"There's nothing I really need," she said. "But since you are so kind as to ask, would you please bring me back a rose if you should see one on your travels? There are no bushes to be found in these parts,
"In these here parts?"
and they are one thing that I have truly missed since we have been here." And so their father left, but when he arrived at the port, he found that the ship's cargo was worthless and he had to return home just as poor as he had been before. Sadly, he started the long journey back, disappointed that he could not even afford one present for his children. He was only about 30 miles from home when disaster struck once more. While riding through a vast forest, he somehow missed his way and became lost. It began to snow heavily, and the wind was so strong that he was twice thrown from his horse. When darkness came, he was sure he would starve of hunger or cold, or that he would be eaten by the howling wolves. Suddenly, he saw a light at the end of the long tree-lined path. It seemed quite far away, but just the thought of shelter gave the merchant a little strength. He walked towards it and saw that the light came from a brightly lit palace. Astonished, he passed through the gateway. The courtyard was quite empty. His horse, which followed him, saw an empty stable and went inside. The cold, starving animal found some hay and oats, which it started to eat greedily, while the merchant walked to the house. Still he found no one, but when he entered a large hall, there he found a welcoming fire blazing in the fireplace, and a table full of food set just for one person. The merchant was soaked to the skin, so he went to the fireplace to dry himself off.
"Master of the house will forgive me for making myself at home," he thought. "He will probably arrive soon, and I can explain."
He waited for quite a long time, but when still no one had arrived by 11 o'clock, he could no longer resist his hunger and helped himself to a chicken, which he ate in 2 bites.
How big was that chicken?
Then he drank a couple of glasses of wine, which made him very sleepy. He left the hall and passed through several huge corridors, all magnificently decorated. At the end of one, he found a bedroom in which there was a comfortable bed. The sight of it was too much for the tired man. Without thinking further, he threw himself into it and fell fast asleep.
Uh-oh. Whoa, there he is.
The merchant slept well and did not wake up until 10 o'clock in the next morning. When he got up and looked for his clothes, he was very surprised to find that they had been replaced by brand new ones. After a magnificent breakfast, he went outside to find his horse. On the way, he walked under a rose-covered archway, and remembering Beauty's request, he picked a branch on where there grew several roses.
At least one of my dear children will have a gift, he smiled to himself. Suddenly he heard a terrible noise and saw a beast coming towards him, a monster so horrible that he almost fainted in terror. "You ungrateful wretch," roared the beast. "I saved your life by letting you into my palace, and you reward me by stealing my roses, which I love more than anything else in the world. Now you will die."
The merchant fell to his knees and begged the beast not to harm him.
"Oh, forgive me, sir. I did not think you would be offended if I picked a rose for one of my daughters."
Also, damn. So fancy.
It's like the clothes are so much fancier here.
Will you look at that? Well, he's also wearing gloves. Also, those rings are huge. The details, though. Oh, thank you for following, so Sweetheart. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. I'm reading fairy tales, and this one is Beauty and the Beast.
"Wanted one so badly." "Don't call me sir. I am known as the Beast,"
answered the creature.
"I prefer that people say what they think, so don't think your flattery will change anything. However, I will forgive you on condition that one of your daughters comes here willingly to die in your place. If your daughters refuse to die for you, you must return to me in 3 months and receive your punishment."
The man had no intention of sacrificing one of his daughters to the evil monster, but he had said to himself, "At least I will have the chance to embrace them one more time before I die." So he promised that he would return, and fetching his horse, he left the palace. A few hours later, the man arrived home, tired and sad. His children ran towards him with open arms, but the merchant looked at them with tears in his eyes. In his hand he held the branch of roses he brought for Beauty. He gave it to her and said,
"Take these roses. Your unhappy father has indeed paid a great price for them."
Then he told his family all about the worthless ship, the magical palace, and the misfortune that had befallen him. After hearing his story, his 2 older daughters started to cry, but Beauty said, "There's no need for our father to die. I will willingly offer myself to the beast in his place." Oh yeah, they had brothers, I forgot.
"No, my sister," said her 3 brothers. "We will track down the monster and kill him first. Surely all 3 of us can defeat him." "My children," said the merchant, "this beast is too powerful even for you. Besides, the beast saved my life, although he now intends to take it. I gave my word. I am old, and I will not regret losing the last few years of my life thanks to you, my dear children."
"I assure you, my father, that you will not go to the palace without me," said Beauty. "You can't stop me from following you. I would rather be eaten by this monster than die of a broken heart from losing you." Her father and brothers begged and pleaded with her, but there was nothing they could say to make her change her mind.
Can we make say a Disney princess? That would be kind of crazy. Well, imagine. Oh. Oh my gosh, it's the sisters. They're crying, but they're holding onions. Oh, what fake crocodile tears.
The 2 elder daughters rubbed their eyes with onions and pretended to cry when Beauty left with her father. Her brothers and her father also wept, but Beauty didn't cry at all because she did not want to make her family even more miserable.
Hi Mickey, welcome back to the stream. Yes, real life reading. Oh, hi Martin, good morning. Hope you're doing well.
I'm reading Beauty and the Beast, or at least the version that's in this book right here.
A Treasury of Fairy Tales. But yeah, I'm using hand cam so I could show you guys how the book looks as well. Say hand reading. Ah, here's my real hand. Oh.
But yeah, They rode the horse to the palace, and as darkness fell, found it as brightly lit as before. The horse found shelter in the stable, and the man entered the large hall with his daughter, where they found a table magnificently laid out and set for two. Beauty thought to herself, "The beast wants to fatten me up before he eats me." After dinner they heard a great roaring. Beauty could hardly stop herself from fainting in terror when she saw the horrible monster, but she tried to control her fear, and when the beast asked her if she had come of her own choice, she told him with a trembling voice that she had.
You are very kind, said the beast, and I am very grateful that you decided to come.
He then turned to the man and said to him,
Say goodbye to your daughter. You will leave here tomorrow morning and never come back. Now good night, Beauty.
Good night, beast, she answered, and the monster disappeared. That night, while she slept, Beauty dreamed of a fairy who told her, I like and admire your kind heart, Beauty. The good deed you have done will be rewarded. When Beauty woke up, she told her father of her dream, although this comforted him a little bit. It did not stop him from weeping bitterly when he had to leave his daughter. When he had gone, Beauty sat down in the large hall and began to weep herself, thinking that the beast must surely eat her that night. Then, pulling herself together, she decided to explore. She was very surprised when she came to the door with a sign that read, Beauty's Room. She opened it and was impressed by what she saw. A large library, a harpsichord, and several books about music. On a shelf was a book inscribed in gold letters. Wish, command, here you are, the queen and the mistress. Alas, she sighed, I only wish I could see my poor father to know what he is doing at this very moment. To her surprise, in the mirror, she saw a vision of her father arriving home, looking very sad. I guess that's father? All too soon, the vision disappeared, but Beauty was no longer scared because she believed the beast didn't mean to eat her after all. At noon, she found the table set with food for her. During the meal, she could hear beautiful music, although she never saw anyone playing. In the afternoon, Beauty walked in the palace gardens. She felt quite safe, but that evening, as she sat at the table, she heard the noise of the beast arriving and could not help shivering. I guess this is the magic mirror, yeah. The other version of Beauty and the Beast didn't really have this. At least the Disney one, I think.
Beauty, would you mind if I watched you have your dinner? He asked.
You are the master, answered Beauty, trembling.
Yes, but you are the only mistress here, assured the beast. You only have to tell me if I bore you and I will leave at once. Tell me, don't you think I am very ugly?
I admit that is true because I can't lie. Jeez. But I think that you are very kind.
But that does not change my dreadful ugliness, said the monster. I know very well that I am just a beast.
One is only a beast if one thinks it, Beauty assured him kindly. Only fools are not aware of that.
Enjoy your meal, Beauty, said the monster. Everything in this house is yours.
Thank you so much for the 2 gifted subs. Thank you, and welcome Mr. Bruv and Frigid Snaky to Hoshi sub on Twitch. Please enjoy patches and emotes. Thank you. Thank you so much for gifting. Wow. And if you guys are here, don't forget to say thank you. So thank you so much. Goodness. Wow. Also, goodness. Wait a minute. Oh, I didn't realize. Wait, I didn't realize. There. What, Nick? I didn't realize you gave bits somehow. Oh my goodness! I just saw it on the leaderboard. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Wow. Thank you. Okay.
Enjoy your meal, Beauty, said the monster. Everything in this house is yours, and I would be sad if you were unhappy.
You're very kind, said Beauty, and I appreciate your generosity.
Oh yes, Beauty. Oh yes, answered the beast. I have a good heart, but I am still a monster.
Beauty enjoyed her meal. She was no longer afraid of the monster, but she was very shocked.
Whoa! Oh my goodness! Hype train! Oh! Thank you so much for the bits, Tom. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Whoa, that's like... How many now? Goodness, like... Is that like 300-400 today? What? Well, 52? Oh my goodness. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Wow.
And she was very shocked when he suddenly said,
Beauty, will you marry me?
"Oh my gosh, already?"
Jeez, they move so fast in these stories.
She waited a moment before answering. She feared that if she refused, the monster would be angry. At last she told him with a trembling voice, "Oh, beast." The poor monster wanted to sigh, but instead he made a dreadful hissing noise that echoed through the whole palace. Then he sadly said,
Good night, Beauty.
Damn. He said no, bro. Also, look at that.
"All those fruits." He left the room, sadly looking over his shoulder before he closed the door. Beauty felt sorry for the poor beast. "Alas," she said, "he is so kind, but I could never love a beast." Beauty spent 3 very happy months in the palace. Every evening the beast would visit her and talk to her while she had dinner. Every day Beauty discovered new virtues in the monster and she became quite fond of him.
Take me out to dinner first and we'll see. He's been treating her to dinner for months now. Well, I guess they had to stay in dinner the first time when he asked her.
Just one thing troubled her. At night before the monster went to bed, he always asked her if she would become his wife.
Every night? Jeez. Calm down there, sir.
And every time he seemed to be overcome with pain when she refused.
Oh, thank you so much for the bits again. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Wow. Thank you so much for the support, though. Wow.
One day she said to him, "You make me sad, beast. I will always be your friend, but I could never marry you."
If that is how it has to be, said the beast, I deserve what I get. I know very well I am horrible to look at. Nevertheless, promise me you will never leave me.
These words embarrassed Beauty. She was missing her father a great deal, and although she could see a vision of him in the mirror anytime she liked, she dearly wished to be able to speak to him.
Also, look at that. It's like...
I guess the hallways of the palace?
That's Beast right there. Low-key looks like it could be a backrooms thing if he's like approaching the table from there.
Sorry for interrupting with the bits. I kept trying to time them when you paused. No worries, it's okay.
I'm not sure if you can time them given the stream delay, but I do appreciate the support there. No worries about it.
I always want to take the time to say thank you and things. Oh, again. And assure him that she was alive and well. She could also see how much he was missing her. "I could promise never to leave you, but I would so much like to see my father once more. I would die with a broken heart if you were to refuse me this wish," said Beauty.
I would rather die myself than to make you unhappy,
replied the monster. But if I send you to
your father, you will stay there, and your poor beast will die of heartbreak.
"No," answered Beauty. "I promise that I will return within a week. Your mirror has shown me that my sisters have married and that my brothers are now soldiers. My father is all alone. Allow me to visit him for a week."
You will be there tomorrow morning, said the beast, giving her a jeweled ring. Remember your promise. When you want to return, you only have to put this magic ring on a table and go to sleep. Farewell, Beauty.
Having said this, the beast sighed as usual, and Beauty went sadly to sleep, feeling guilty that she had hurt his feelings. When she woke up the next morning, she was in her father's house. He was beside himself with joy when he saw his sweet daughter again, and they embraced each other for a very long time. When Beauty's sisters heard the news, they rushed to the house with their husbands. They were furious when they saw her dressed like a princess and more beautiful than ever, bro. They're haters.
They're such haters.
She was very sweet to them, but nothing could stop them from being jealous, bro.
Such miserable
individuals. The two girls went to the garden to grumble together. "Listen, my sister," said the eldest. "I have an idea. Let's try to make her stay here longer than a week. Her stupid beast will be angry because she didn't keep her promise, and maybe he will tear her to shreds." "You're right, my sister," answered the other. "Let us be very sweet to her." When a week had passed, the two sisters begged so prettily for Beauty to stay that she promised to remain one more week. Yet Beauty blamed herself for the grief she must be causing the poor beast, and, indeed, she even found that she missed his company. The 10th night she spent at her father's house, she dreamt that she was in the palace garden. She saw the beast stretched out on the grass. He was dying of a broken heart because she had not returned to him. Oh no! Beauty woke up in shock and began to weep. How could I break a beast's heart who is so sweet to me? She cried. Is it his fault that he is so ugly and has no hope?
Oh my goodness!
I forgot how blunt this writing is.
Oh my goodness. You're too humble about your English though. I love my Filipino news friends. My name is Trevor, so when they call me they say the tray like tray and four like four. Oh, I see. It's awesome. I feel like you say it perfectly with how you're reading your names in your book. Really? Trevor? But yeah, well, I do my best. I'm sorry, I read that line again.
He's kind, and that is more important than anything else. I could never forgive myself if he died for my ingratitude. So Beauty got up, put her magic ring on the table, and went back to sleep. When she woke up the next morning, she was delighted to find that she was back in the Beast's palace.
You got it? You could pass as American 100%? Really? Well, I got the pass.
She dressed herself quickly, then spent all that day waiting for the beast to arrive. She waited and waited until the clock struck 9, but the beast did not appear. Beauty then feared the worst. She ran through the palace, searching desperately for the beast. After she'd looked everywhere, she suddenly remembered her dream and ran out to the garden where she had seen him lying. There she found the beast unconscious on the ground, and she thought he was dead. She threw herself on him without a thought for his ugliness and felt his heart still beating, although only just. She took some water from the pond and threw it on his face. At last the beast opened his eyes and said,
You did not keep your promise, Beauty, but now I will die happily because I've had the chance to see you one more time.
Once more he closed his eyes, and Beauty stroked his forehead. No, my dear beast, you will not die, she said.
How?
'Cause she said so.
Just kidding. I guess this is her running around in her fancy dress.
You will live to become my husband. From this moment I will give you my hand in marriage, and I promise I will never leave you again. The pain I felt when I could not find you made me realize that I truly love you and I could not live without you. Beauty looked at her dear beast, but what a surprise! The beast had disappeared, and at her feet she found the most handsome prince she had ever seen. He got to his feet and stretched, then thanked her for breaking his spell. Although she had no eyes for anyone except the prince, Beauty could not stop herself from asking him where the beast had gone.
You see him here before you, the prince told her. An evil fairy changed me into the beast, until the day that a beautiful girl agreed to marry me of her own free will. While I was under the spell, I was forbidden to tell any girl the true story. It was hopeless, for who would want to marry a fearsome beast? You were the only one in the world with the heart to give me the chance to show my kind and gentle character, and by offering you my crown, I now also show you my gratitude and sincerity. You already know that I love you.
Beauty, who was amazed, took the handsome prince by the hand. They went into the palace together, and Beauty was happier than ever when she saw her father and the rest of her family in the large hall.
Already? That was fast.
What? Who sent the invitations?
You can do a good wizard voice.
We might encounter one in another story. I don't know. The fairy who had appeared in her dream. Oh yeah, the fairy! Oh, for sure it was the fairy. Had brought them to the palace, and she too was there smiling. Beauty, at last you have received your reward for making the right decision, said the good fairy.
The full spread! Whoa!
Oh my gosh, that face is so distracting though, but
Look, the art though.
I guess even in this story, Beauty wears like the yellow dress. Although in here her name was actually Beauty, I guess.
Not Belle. And there's the prince, although I guess he shed the beast skin or something. Like Dumbledore. Oh yeah, Dumbledore.
You have put virtue above beauty, and you deserve this prince who has such qualities himself. You will become a great queen, and I have no fear that you will rule wisely and well. Then the fairy turned to Beauty's two sisters.
I know your evil hearts.
Uh-oh, she said.
You will become 2 stone statues that will stand at your sister's palace gate. All you will do each day is to witness her happiness, and there you will stay until the moment you admit your mistakes. However, I am afraid that you may well remain statues for a very long time.
That very day the prince, who had been the beast, married Beauty. She lived with him in the palace in perfect happiness forever after, because, after all, their love was a tale of honest virtue.
So, that was Beauty and the Beast?
I guess one of the other versions. And yeah. There was I forgot how there was nothing about like the magical rose part, and it seemed like the prince in this one, or the beast, had actually had a pretty good personality.
No, not really any anger issues. Well, actually no. He got mad about the rose part, I guess, with the father. But still, wasn't that bad. Or no talking. Oh yeah, no talking utensils as well. Like the servants. You see the remake?
Oh, like the live action one?
I did watch it. The one with Emma Watson.
But yeah. This next story is The Emperor's New Clothes, which is by... hold on. Hans Christian Andersen again. Okay. Many years ago, there was a grand emperor who was so fond of new clothes that he spent all his money on them. Damn.
What a shopaholic.
Every hour of the day, he changed his clothes. Whether he was inspecting his soldiers, going to the theater, or taking a walk, the real reason he went was to show off his new clothes. The capital was a very lively city thanks to the many tourists who visited it. One day, 2 thieves arrived who, knowing of the emperor's fondness for clothes, spread the story that they were weavers and that they knew how to weave the most magnificent cloth in the world. Uh-oh. Not only were the colors and the patterns outstandingly beautiful, but the clothes made from this cloth were magic. They were invisible to every person who did not do his job properly, or to anyone who was stupid.
The biggest scam. Sounds like my brother, but with cards instead. Oh no.
Respect the drip changes every hour. You're not allowed to call him out on the drip either, especially when he's wearing this one.
Such clothes are beyond price, thought the emperor. If I had a suit of this cloth, I would know which men in my government are not fit for their jobs, and I would be able to pick out the wise men from the fools. Yes, I must certainly have this cloth.
He gave the thieves a large sum of money and asked them to start work immediately. They set up 2 looms and acted as if they were weaving, although there was nothing at all to be seen.
Oh my gosh, they'd be miming. Weavers, Silk Song mentioned.
They constantly asked for the finest silk yarn and gold thread, but they really hid everything in their own bags and just pretended to work, long into the night on the empty looms.
I would like to know how far they've got with my cloth, thought the emperor a few days later,
but he was a bit afraid to go himself when he remembered that anyone who is stupid or...
Oh no. Also, I guess this is the king?
And these 2 are the thieves, maybe?
Crazy they think purple could only be bought by... Crazy to think that purple could only be bought by nobles at one point.
Oh yeah!
Purple was like a really fancy color. I think it came from, like, the pigment of it was pretty hard to come by.
Yeah, you had to be rich to buy it, for sure.
Good. At their job.
Could not see the cloth. Although he was sure he had nothing to fear, he decided it would be better to send someone else to check the cloth before he did.
I will send my faithful old minister to the weavers,
decided the emperor.
He is the best person to examine the cloth. He is an intelligent man and knows his job very well.
And so the honest old minister went into the room where the 2 rogues were working at their empty looms.
Oh, good heavens,
he thought when he looked, and he opened his eyes wide.
I cannot see a thing.
Uh-oh.
But the minister did not say anything. The 2 weavers beckoned him closer and asked him what he thought of the design and the colors, pointing at their looms. The old man stared at them closely, but he could not see anything for the simple reason that there was nothing to see.
Oh dear, he thought. Am I really that stupid? Am I really unfit for my job? This must never be found out. I don't dare to admit that I cannot see the cloth.
There he is. He's trying so hard, hunched over, 90 degrees.
It is beautiful. It is quite charming, said the minister aloud while he put on his glasses. That design and those colors. Yes, I will tell the emperor that I am very pleased. Oh no.
Hi Joe, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm glad you think it's cozy. I had to figure out what to do for the setup today, but I'm glad it worked out. But yeah, I hope you're doing well.
I'm reading The Emperor's New Clothes. We are delighted to hear you say so, said the two weavers, chuckling heartily. The swindlers then asked for more money, silk, yarn, and gold thread. They needed a lot for this cloth, they said, but again they put everything in their own pockets. The looms remained empty and they kept pretending to work.
Hi Kazan, welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading fairy tales from the Treasury of Fairy Tales, and right now I am on The Emperor's New Clothes. Give me a second. I'm good. That's good to hear.
Oh, there they are. Oh no. Soon afterwards, the emperor sent another honest courtier to examine the cloth. The same thing happened to him as to the minister. He stared and stared for a long time, but did not see anything. Isn't the cloth lovely? Asked the two thieves while they stroked and exclaimed over the superb design and the beautiful colors that did not exist. I'm certainly not stupid, thought the man. So does this mean I am not good enough at my job? This is very tricky. I will have to be very careful if I am not to be found out.
So he praised the cloth and assured them how delighted he was with their choice of colors and patterns.
Oh no! No cloth this beautiful has ever been made before, he told the emperor, and the story of the magnificent cloth was on
Everyone's lips. Uh-oh. I've always compared a stream in my head to gathering around the fire and one of the elders telling a story, so this is actually perfect. I'm glad you think so. I've been meaning to do a book reading stream for a long time now, and I figured I could try it out today.
At last, the emperor decided to go and see the cloth for himself while it was still on the loom, accompanied by a large number of chosen men.
Also, wait.
Amongst whom were the two men he had sent before. The emperor paid a visit to the two cunning thieves who were still at their looms,
busily pretending to weave with nothing.
Isn't this magnificent? Said the two men who had already seen the work. The design and the colors suit you perfectly, your majesty. And they pointed at the
empty loom.
What is this? Thought the emperor. I don't see anything. This is terrible. Am I a fool? Am I not capable of governing? This is the worst thing that could have happened to me.
And suddenly he said aloud,
It is magnificent.
Oh no! Here we go.
It is magnificent. I am extremely pleased with it. Please, make it into a suit of clothes for me.
Well, that's a whole lot of nothing. But look at that double page spread though. These, I'm not sure if these two are supposed to be his court people or the thieves. Yeah, this king, bro. Oh no, wow, they're caressing a whole lot of nothing.
He nodded in satisfaction while he looked at the loom. He did not dare to tell the truth. All the people he had taken with him stared hard as well, one after the other. Although they could not see anything, they repeated after the emperor, It is magnificent, it is charming, it is delightful.
Everyone appeared happy with the result, and the emperor commanded that there was to be a procession the next day, at which he would wear his new suit. Oh my gosh, why is he doing this to himself?
Then the two crooks were given knighthoods and received the title of
gentlemen weavers. Jeez.
That night they sat up working in the light of 16 candles. They pretended to take the cloth from the loom. They cut into the air with a huge pair of scissors and sewed with a needle that had no thread in it.
Finally, they declared with a great flourish that the suit was finished.
Together with his courtiers, the emperor went to see the finished clothes. The two thieves both stood with their arms in the air as if they were holding up something and said, Here are the trousers, your majesty. Here is the jacket. Here is the cloak. They are as light as a feather, so light that it may seem as if you're not wearing anything, but that is one of the important qualities of this cloth. Yes, of course, answered the courtiers. But they did not see anything. After all, there was nothing to see.
Oh no, these two guys, they look so proud of their scam.
Would your highness be graciously pleased to take off your clothes?
Asked the thieves.
And you can try on the new ones in front of the big mirror. The emperor took his clothes off, and the thieves pretended to dress him. He turned round and round in front of the mirror.
Oh no! Them cheeks! Uh-oh.
Good gracious, how well it suits his majesty. What a perfect fit, exclaimed all the courtiers. What style, what colors, what wonderful suit.
I wonder if YouTube would be mad about the cheeks. Good lord, he's thick. Oh no! And the chief master of ceremonies entered.
The canopy with which is to be carried over your majesty in the procession is waiting outside, he said. Excellent. I think I am ready, answered the emperor. I think I look quite good in these clothes. And he twirled in front of the mirror one more time to look at the
Splendid suit. As the royal ass, he asked.
The attendants, who had to carry the cloak's long train, pretended to pick it up from the ground,
And they held up their hands as if they were holding the train because they did not want anyone to think that they could not see it.
Everyone's in on it now.
I should go get breakfast. Have a nice breakfast, Martin.
The emperor walked very proudly in the procession under his beautiful canopy, and all the people in the street at the windows cried, "What a splendid costume! How gracious the train is! What a perfect fit!" No one would let anyone else think that he could not see anything. Never had the emperor's clothes been so admired before.
Wow. Then a little child pushed to the front of the crowd. But he's not wearing anything, he cried.
Heavens, listen to the voice of innocence, said the child's father. But soon afterwards, all the people started to whisper and repeat the child's words. There's a little child who says the emperor isn't wearing any clothes at all, whispered the crowd. Indeed, there are no clothes at all, everyone exclaimed at last. The emperor then felt extremely foolish, for he realized that they were quite right. However, he held his head up high and continued until the end of the procession. Well,
he ended the thing with dignity. Yes, this. And then the king twerked for all his noblemen. No, please.
The attendants continued respectfully, carrying the train that did not exist, until at last they were once again safely inside the palace. And do you know, the emperor was never quite so vain about his clothes after that.
And so, I guess the thieves
ran away with all their riches. But yeah, that was the emperor's new clothes. If the kid did not speak up, that would have been crazy. I wonder if they, since the thieves were knighted, right? They got like knighthood and like became gentlemen weavers. I wonder if they were hunted down, but I guess it's up to our imagination.
But yeah, this next one is Rumpelstiltskin.
I remember he was in Shrek.
I remember he was in Shrek.
I think the fourth one?
Rumpelstiltskin by the Brothers Grimm.
Once upon a time, there was a miller who was very poor, but he had a beautiful daughter. One day, it happened that he had the chance to speak to the king, and in order to seem important to him, he said, "I have a daughter who can spin gold out of straw." "Now that is a talent which interests me," answered the king. "If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her to my castle tomorrow, and I will put her to the test." When the young girl arrived, he took her to a room full of straw, gave her a reel and spinning wheel, and said, "Now you will start working, and if between now and tomorrow morning you have not spun this straw into gold, you will die." Spin this thing or you will die. These stories are all legit classics, and I've heard them all, but this was the best way to hear them.
Oh, I'm glad you enjoy though. I think some of them are a little more obscure than the others, so I'm kind of happy to share them all with you.
Or like,
have a retelling of it.
Thereupon he locked the door securely, and she was left all alone. There sat the poor miller's daughter, not knowing what to do. She had no idea how to spin straw into gold, and she became so frightened that she started to cry. Suddenly, the door opened, and a little man entered who said to her, "Good evening, beautiful miller's daughter. Why are you crying?"
Hello,
Alas, answered the young girl, I have to spin all this straw into gold, and I don't know how.
What will you give me if I spin it for you? Asked the little man.
My necklace, answered the girl. The little man took the necklace, sat down behind the spinning wheel, and started to spin, spin, spin. He only spun 3 times, and the reel was full. He replaced it by another one, and started to spin, spin, spin. He only spun 3 times, and the second one was full too. He did this all night until dawn broke. So all the straw was spun, and all the reels were full of gold. As soon as the sun rose, the king arrived. When he saw all the gold, he was extremely pleased, but he was a greedy man and wanted more. He took the miller's daughter to another room full of straw, which was even larger than the one before, and ordered her to spin all that straw into gold in 1 night if she wanted to stay alive. Why is he giving her such a tight deadline? I mean, he already knows she can do it. And why is he still threatening her when he knows she can do it? This guy. When she was left alone, the young girl started to cry. Oh, look at that spread. There's I guess, well, he didn't actually say his name yet, but it's probably Rumpelstiltskin. Look at him. Look at him go. The after image of his weaving hands. Or spinning hands. And there's the girl. I guess she doesn't have a name here. And there's a little owl just watching. It's so nice with like picture books or books with pictures. You can kind of see all of the little details. Then the door opened once again. The little man appeared and said,
What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold?
The ring that I wear on my finger, answered the young girl. The little man took the ring, sat himself down behind the spinning wheel, and by the next morning he had spun all the straw into sparkling gold. The king was delighted at the sight of all this gold, but he still wasn't satisfied.
Bruh.
He took the miller's daughter to another room full of straw, even larger than the first 2, and commanded,
You will spin all this straw for me tonight, and if you succeed, you will become my wife. Although she is only a miller's daughter, he thought, I couldn't find a richer wife.
This king kind of sucks. When the young girl was alone, the little man arrived again and said,
What will you give me this time if I spin the straw into gold?
I don't have anything more to give, answered the young girl.
Well, promise me your first child if you become queen.
Oh no, said the little man. That's never likely to happen, thought the miller's daughter. Oh no. Look at all that. I think this is all gold already. Jeez. It looks kind of like corn. Still, she promised the little man his wish, and again he spun all the straw into gold. When the king arrived the next morning and saw all the gold, he prepared the wedding, and the pretty miller's daughter became queen, much to her surprise. Jeez. 1 year later, when she had forgotten all about the little man, she gave birth to a little beautiful child. Just a year after? Jeez. Then one day, he suddenly walked into her room and said,
Well, give me what you've promised.
They're really about to be like, alright, give me your first kid then, yeah. And he really went in... Oh, hold on. I realized, I think I did a toggle. By accident. This outfit comes with toggles, by the way. Okay. I had like 3 arms. 3 hands? Oh my goodness. Well, the queen was terrified and offered the little man all the treasures of the kingdom not to take her child. What's a toggle? Oh, it's like if I press a button, then it's like for example, I can toggle my glasses like this. So it's kind of like it toggles a certain configuration for live 2D models. Or like toggles certain items to spawn in if you set them to be. It's a VTube studio thing. Yeah. But the little man answered,
No, I have no need for treasure. You must keep your promise.
And the queen started to moan and weep. The little man felt sorry for her, and he said, I will give you 3 days. She really shouldn't have agreed to that. I wonder if it ever occurred to her to bargain. But I wonder if it was bargainable or not.
I will give you 3 days. If within that time you discover my name, I will let you keep your child.
Throughout the whole night, the queen thought about all the names she had ever heard, and she sent a messenger through the country to find out every name that existed.
That sounds pretty cool. Yeah. Don't trust her, says a witch. What? How dare? I'm not a witch, no.
Or am I? Just kidding. When the little man arrived the next day, she started with Caspar, Melchior, Balthazar, and said one name after another until she knew no more. Is that a random toucan? Did they just randomly own a toucan?
Oh my gosh.
Every time the little man said, "That is not my name,"
You're a wizard. Oh my gosh.
the next day she had inquiries made throughout the entire neighborhood for the name of every single person, and she repeated the strangest and the rarest names to the little man.
Might as well be, 'tis the season. Oh yeah. I really should dress up for, well, I'm kind of dressed for the occasion a little bit, but I'll probably figure something out costume-wise for the rest of October for certain streams.
Isn't your name Cow Ribs or Leg of Mutton or
Spider legs. Okay, the one who suggested leg of mutton is hungry, probably.
But still, he answered, "That is not my name." The third day, the messenger came back and said he was not able to find any new names.
A pumpkin outfit would be adorable. I'm not sure if I can find one. We'll see. Because I usually just try to find free-to-use ones online. I'll see what I can find.
However, he said, when I arrived at a huge mountain at the corner of a forest where the foxes and the hares say goodnight to each other, I saw a fire burning in front of a little house. A very strange little man was dancing around this fire. He was hopping on one leg and singing, "Today I bake. Today I brew beer. The day after tomorrow I will bring the queen's child here. How lucky I am that nobody knows that Rumpelstiltskin is my name."
Bro just outed himself. Why would he put his name in his own little song? Great, now I'm hungry. Low-key, I'm actually getting a bit hungry as well. But I'm not sure if it's okay to snack while reading. But maybe I'll get something to eat later. I feel like it would be too crunchy. I kind of feel like having some chips, but I feel like it might be too crunchy. I don't mind if you snack. ASMR, no. Really? Well, I'll finish this. I'll finish this story first, and then I'll maybe get something to eat and refill my tumbler.
You can imagine how delighted the queen was when she heard that.
Look at him dancing, unknowingly outing himself. Cookie, oh, cookie sounds so nice. We don't have cookies right now, though. I do love me a good chocolate chip cookie.
Soon afterwards, the little man entered and asked her, "What is my name?" She answered, "Is your name Harry?" "No." "Is your name Bert?" "No." Then the queen laughed and said, "Is your name by any chance Rumpelstiltskin?"
Uh-oh.
"It must have been the devil who told you that! It must have been the devil who told you that!"
screamed the little man, and in his rage he stamped his right foot so violently on the floor that he disappeared to the ground and was never seen again.
Well, that was fast. I guess she got to keep the child. But yeah, that was Rumpelstiltskin. Oh, I thought his name was Greg Stiltskin. His last name is Stiltskin. Funny we don't actually know the name of anyone else in this story. But I guess it just is. So yeah.
The next one is gonna be Florinda and Joringel.
I will be back though. So I will BRB. I'm gonna go get something to eat. And give me a second.
Let me just...
It is a break, if you will.
Oh, which is actually fitting, because we went through all these stories on this first half, so now we are on the second half of stories, so the timing is actually perfect.
BRB, yeah, no worries, please take this time as well to BRB. I will also BRB. BRB.
Oh, it's not bathroom, hold on.
BRB. Snacks. Okay, I'm a BRB, guys. I will disappear for a bit. Wow, I'm back. Hold on. I had to set things on the table. Yay! I'm back. I come bearing snacks. Hold on. There we go. A snack. Oh, I can show you guys what I've got. Well, it's I brought a whole bag just in case I wanted to refill. But it's piatos, cheese, chips, and I kind of emptied out a previous one, So I just brought that one up just in case I wanted more. But yeah, I'm back. It is time. Let me just drink some water. Don't forget to hydrate, you guys. Yeah. Okay. All right. So this one is called Florinda and the Oringle. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Tom. Thank you. I did hydrate, no worries. I'm not sure if you can hear the chomp or see me munching. Thank you. Yeah, I got a bit hungry. Sometimes the pictures look appetizing, like when they show the food. Okay, this one is Florinda and Joringel, which is by the Brothers Grimm. Hold on. Let me see if I can devise a way. Cause I've been using my left hand to hold up the left side of the book a bit. I'll use my dice doggo. I have like dice, D&D dice in this doggo. Perhaps he can help. There we go. Perfect. Ah. Yeah, it's by the Brothers Grimm. Cute. Yes, it's a little sheep. I got it from Japan actually. It's a fluffy sheep pouch, and this one's also a charm I got from Japan, and he has like my dice sets inside. I have like 3 in here, I think. And I haven't done it recently, but if I need help deciding and stuff, sometimes I would roll a dice. Yeah. Okay, little sheep. Alright. So, just give me a second. Let me restart our playlist here. Because for some reason it's not looping properly. So I have to do that every now and then. Yes, the dice of fate. Okay. Florinda and Joringel by the Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time, there was an old castle in the middle of a huge dark forest where an old woman lived alone. She was a witch. During the day, she changed herself into a cat or an owl, and at night she turned back into a human being. Protected by the doggo of truth, yes. She used magic to entice rabbits and birds to come to her, and she would boil or roast them for her dinner. A powerful spell surrounded the castle. If a man approached within 100 steps, he would find himself powerless to move. There he would be forced to stay like a statue, until the witch decided to free him. But if a young girl approached, the witch would change her into a bird and lock her up into a cage. She had 7,000 cages in her castle, each containing rare birds. Are those all young girls? Goodness, that's a lot. Near to the forest lived a girl named Florinda. She was the most beautiful girl in the world, and she was engaged to a handsome young man named Joringel. They loved each other so very much and were to be married soon. One day, they went for a walk in the forest so that they could spend some time alone.
You must be careful not to get too close to the castle,
warned Joringel as they set off.
Late that afternoon, a change seemed to fall on the forest. The sun still shone between the thick green trees, but the turtle doves who lived there began to sing a sad song, which made Florinda cry. I guess this is her tears over here. And an owl. Is that the owl that made her cry? Oh no, it was turtle. It was
turtle doves. Then both Florinda and Joringel began to moan. They felt miserable, as if they were about to die, and it wasn't long before they realized they had lost their way. Oh, geez. They shouldn't have gone too far. It was almost sunset. Joringel looked through the bushes and saw that they were very close to the castle walls. Uh-oh. May I ask how you decided to read this book? I've been meaning to because I really enjoyed reading this book. I thought it would be like I would come back to it every now and then. Back then. And it's been a long while since I last read it, and I wanted to read it again. And I thought, I'm not sure if chat would be interested in a book reading stream. But then during one of my earlier Tiny Bookshop streams, I did bring it up. And then it seemed people were interested in a book reading stream, and I was like, oh, that's nice then. So now I made time for it. Oh gosh, creepy old witch, I guess? He trembled at the sight. Then he heard Florinda singing, "Little bird with your red ring, singing sorrow, 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 singing the dove's death, singing sorrow, chirp, chirp, chirp." What are these lyrics? Before his very eyes, Florinda changed into a nightingale. Then an owl with haunting eyes appeared and flew 3 times around her, crying, "Ooh, ooh, ooh." Honestly, if it makes you happy, it makes me happy. Whatever you want to do or stream. Oh, I'm glad. I guess for special streams like this that I've never done before, I still feel I felt a bit unsure about, but it is reassuring to know that people are interested in watching. Joringel found out that he could not move an inch. He stood like a stone, unable to cry, speak, or move his hands and feet. And the sun set. The owl flew into a bush, and from its dark leaves appeared an old hunchbacked woman, sallow-skinned and scraggy, with big red eyes and a long, crooked nose. She mumbled something, took the nightingale in her hand, and carried it away. Joringel was helpless. Is that her? The nightingale? At first the young man despaired that he would be a statue forever. But after a while, the witch returned and began to chant in a sinister voice. "Oh, Zachiel, when the moon shines on the cage, break the spell at the right time, Zachiel." Who is she talking to? To be honest, when I woke up, I was reluctant to come here since I didn't want to interrupt the storytelling. Oh, no worries, it's okay. I mean, you can just vibe if you wanted to. That's what the stream is for as well. To just relax and enjoy the stories and the artwork. That's what I'm doing it for. Then Joringel was free. He fell on his knees before the old witch and begged her to give him back his Florinda. He told him he would never see Florinda again, then disappeared. Bro. Man, that must be devastating. But yeah, I always appreciate lurking as well. What is to become of me? Sighed Joringel. He wandered all night until he came to a village he'd never been to before. There he worked as a shepherd for many years. He often walked near to the castle, careful not to get too close. Then one night he dreamt he found a red flower in the middle of which was a beautiful big pearl. In his dream, he picked the flower and took it to the castle. Everything he touched with that flower was freed from the witch's evil spell, including Florinda. When he awoke next morning, Joringel began to search high and low for such a flower. He searched for 9 days, and early on the 9th day he found it. In the middle was a big dewdrop as shiny as the finest pearl. Carefully, he retraced his steps and returned to the castle. This time, the standing spell didn't affect him and he was able to walk right up to the door. Joringel was delighted. He touched the door with the flower and it opened. He entered, crossed the courtyard, and then stopped and listened. There was such a twittering and cheeping coming from the tower that it wasn't difficult for him to guess where the 7,000 birds were imprisoned. That's a lot of birds, though. For real. When the witch saw Joringel, she fell into a great rage. She cursed and spat poison at him, but she could not get nearer to him than 2 steps. He ignored her and hurried towards the bird cages. Double spread! Why do I feel like this double spread picture is kind of a spoiler because what is going on? It looks cool though. But alas, how could he find his beloved Florinda amongst the hundreds of nightingales? In the corner of his eye, Joringel noticed that the witch had stolen a cage and was trying to escape through the door. He leapt towards her and touched the cage with his flower. The witch immediately lost all her powers, and Florinda stood there as beautiful as ever. What? That is a strong flower. That's a very large and very specific number of cages, yeah. Almost as many islands the Philippines has. With a cry of joy, she flung her arms around his neck. Then together they changed all the other birds back to young girls again and returned home, where they lived happily ever after. You can just do that? How has no one done this before? Did no one miss the 7,000 girls enough to do what he did? He's really 1 in 7,000. So yeah, that was Florinda and Joringel. How many islands does the Philippines have then? I was gonna... Oh, right, I'm using my phone, so I can't just search with my phone. It's over 7,000. Islands. And the Philippines. 7,641. That's a lot. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot. I searched it as well. But yeah, thank you, Tom. It's a lot of islands. A lot of them are small, but you wouldn't really think it's that many when you just kind of see what it looks like on the map. But yeah, there's that much. The more you know. Oh, here's another very well-known one. Cinderella. Is that the fairy godmother? Got you, Munchy. Say thank you. I munch. So Cinderella was apparently by... Christian Perrault. Oh! He also wrote Puss in Boots. Once upon a time, there was a man whose first wife died and who married for the second time. The haughtiest and proudest woman in the world. Damn. He really picked one, huh? Why did he have to pick her? She had 2 daughters who took after her in every way. The man had a young daughter from his first marriage, but she was a sweet and kind girl. She took after her mother, who had been the nicest person in the world. How do you go from the nicest person in the world to the haughtiest one, huh? That's crazy. The man's new wife could not stand this young girl's good qualities, which made her daughters seem even more detestable. Gee, I wonder why. She ordered her to do the dirtiest work around the house. She was the one who did the dishes, cleaned the stairs, and polished all the rooms. She was made to sleep in the attic on a very hard mattress, while the 2 sisters had rooms with polished floors, where they slept in soft beds and had mirrors in which they could see themselves from head to toe. The dad really did nothing to help her. The poor girl suffered in silence and did not dare to complain to her father. Did he not see how wrong this was? When the housework was done, she would go to the fireplace and sit in the ashes. Writer, it's called canon eventing. Variety is the spice of life, Cinderella's there. Man, he wanted something completely new and different, I guess. The spiteful sisters thought this was very funny and gave her the name of Cinderella. But although the poor girl had to wear old-fashioned, ragged, cast-off clothes, she was still 100 times more beautiful than the 2 sisters, even in their most magnificent dresses. Now it happened that the king's son organized a ball and sent out invitations to all the important people of the country. When the 2 sisters received their invitation, they were delighted and spent all their time choosing the clothes and the hairstyles they would wear to the ball. Man. Oh, look. Rat butt. I guess in this one she didn't have whimsical rat friends. Yeah, clothes can't fix ugly, exactly. I mean, she looks so pretty even no matter what she's wearing. Meanwhile.
her stepsisters are like so ugly on the inside and out. Yeah, for his third wife, he's gonna get a bag of salmon for a brown bear. Is he gonna find a bear that's secretly a prince? Oh wait, I'm not sure if you were there for for that story earlier. I don't think you were. But yes, that happened. This caused a great deal of extra work for Cinderella because she was the one who had to iron the clothes and starch the lace collars. The only thing they could talk about was the way they would be dressed. "I will wear my red velvet dress with lace trimming," said one. "I will wear my cloak embroidered with golden flowers and my diamond brooch," said her sister. Of course, Cinderella was called to help. She gave them all the best advice she could and even offered to do their hair. They said to her, "Cinderella, wouldn't you like to go to the ball with your raggedy clothes and dirty face? What a sight you'd be!" Cinderella blushed, for inside she really did want to go to the ball. "Sisters, you are laughing at me, and that makes it even worse," she said. "You are right. Everyone would have a good laugh if they saw Cinderella at the ball," sneered the pair. And then Cinderella had an idea. "Maybe I could go to the ball," she said. "Won't you please lend me the yellow dress that you wear around the house so I can go with you?" "Really? I don't think so," exclaimed the elder sister. "Lend my dress to such a grubby little cinders? You must think I'm stupid." And so the matter was closed. Yes, she is stupid. You couldn't have blamed Cinderella if she had completely ruined the sisters' hair, but she was a kind girl and arranged it beautifully, although they did not thank her for it. Man. No, she cried. Oh, she's crying. Also, wait a minute. Did something happen? Oh, my phone! Hold on. Give me a second. Apparently charging from USB is not enough for it. Let me plug it in to not the PC for charging. Give me a second. Take your time, monkey. Thank you. BRB. Let me just grab the charger. Oh. I realized I wasn't really muted, but yes. Room sounds. Yeah, it doesn't... I guess it wasn't enough to charge it to offset the camera being on and stuff. Just a regular brown bear. Oh! Brother bear? Just kidding. Brown bears make me think of brother bear. Yeah, just give me a... Let's just give it a moment to charge a bit. I will munch. Oh, it's on. I gotta enter my passcode. Nostalgia. Boy, Brother Bear would have been different if a prince was in the story. Yeah, they're no princes. Okay, let's just give it a moment. It's a fast charger, so it should be good enough. Yes. Let me just check the source. Oh my. There we go. Refreshed. We're back! Okay, back in business. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Oh no, we're back to Cinderella crying. The sisters were so excited that they could not eat for 2 days before the ball. 2 days? I can't imagine not eating for 2 days even if I was excited. They broke more than a dozen corset laces because they pulled them in so tightly in order to make themselves look slender. And they were constantly primping in front of the mirror. For what? Oh, goodness. At last the great day arrived. Poor Cinderella waved goodbye to the sisters, and she sat down at the fireplace and began to weep. Her godmother, who saw her bitter tears, asked her what was wrong. I want to. Cinderella was crying so hard she couldn't get the words out. I guess that's fairy godmother. But her godmother, who was also a fairy. I like how it's not outright saying fairy godmother. Yet. But you would like to go to the ball, wouldn't you, bibbidi bobbidi? Yes, sighed Cinderella. Well, if you are a good girl, I will send you there, said her fairy godmother. She began to give Cinderella the most peculiar instructions. Go into the garden and bring me a pumpkin, she said. Cinderella went and picked the most beautiful pumpkin she could find. She took it indoors to her fairy godmother, although she was wondering how a pumpkin was going to help her get to the ball. I guess in this version, Cinderella still had to give her the pumpkin. Yes, we're back from the void. Her fairy godmother hollowed it out until there was nothing left but the shell, tapped it with her magic wand, and the pumpkin changed into a beautiful golden carriage. Why couldn't she use the wand from the beginning? Then the fairy godmother looked in the mouse trap where she found 6 live mice. She told Cinderella to lift up the lid of the trap and to let the mice out one by one. As the mice crept out, she tapped them with her magic wand, which changed them into beautiful horses to draw the carriage. Oh yeah, that happened. Then she wondered what could serve as a coachman. I will see if there is a rat in the rat trap, said Cinderella. A rat that would make a good coachman. Cinderella fetched the rat trap, which had 3... Oh wow. Those are the rats. Oh. This guy's staring into your soul. I forgot how vibrant this page spread is. Fat rats in it. The fairy godmother chose the one with the finest whiskers. When she touched it with her magic wand, it changed into a coachman with the most handsome mustache in the world. Tell us you look like you've never done it, but I bet, yeah, I'm not interested in in that kind of thing, but perhaps. She then said to Cinderella, go and look behind the watering can. You will find 6 lizards there. Bring them to me. Oh, there are lizards? Cinderella had no sooner brought them to her fairy godmother than she changed them into footmen. They stepped up behind the carriage with their brightly patterned uniforms and hung on as if they had never done anything else in their lives. I mean, lizards do hang on. Then the fairy godmother said, well, now you can go to the ball in style. Aren't you delighted? Yes, but how can I possibly go to the ball in these wretched clothes? Replied the girl. Just one touch of the magic wand changed Cinderella's rags into a dress of gold and silver material, embroidered with precious stones. Finally, the fairy godmother gave her a pair of glass slippers. Bro, her dress is so much fancier here. It's not quite like the one in Disney. You're precious. I don't know. I'll just do my best. I try to do good.
All dressed up, Cinderella got into the carriage. Her fairy godmother warned her to be home by midnight, for the spell would break at the 12th chime of the clock.
Oh my gosh, fruit.
Are those lemons and oranges? The girl promised her fairy godmother that she would and drove off. The king's son had been told that an unknown princess was about to arrive at the ball, so he ran outside to welcome her. He helped Cinderella come down from the carriage and led her into the ballroom. As soon as everyone saw her, they were awestruck. The dancing ceased and the fiddlers stopped playing as they all admired her perfect beauty.
Orange. Hi, Willow. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading fairy tales from this book. Oh, Chiba is helping keep it open and up. This is Cinderella. A different version, I guess? I'm also eating and munching because I got hungry from some of the food photos. The fiddler is a funny name. Not the fiddler. Even the king himself, although he was an old man, could not keep his eyes off her. Okay, that sounds creepy the way the way it's put like that. And he whispered to the queen that he had not seen such a beautiful young lady for a long time. Stay away. The queen agreed with him, for truly the beautiful stranger outshone every other... Oh, thank you so much for the bit stuff. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's how many now? What? Oh my goodness, thank you. I really appreciate the support though. The queen agreed with him, for truly the beautiful stranger outshone every other person in the room. All the women studied her hairstyle and dress closely, wondering what far-off country could produce such elegant gowns and such magnificent materials. They were determined to remember every last detail so that they would be able to copy them next time there was a grand occasion. Oh, she's a trendsetter now. The prince seated Cinderella in the best place and paid her many compliments. Then later he led her onto the dance floor. She danced so gracefully that everyone admired her even more. She just has aura. After the first round of dances, there was a fine banquet, but the prince could not eat anything because he was too absorbed with the lovely stranger. These people and not eating, goodness. Oh, I have 3 arms? Oh, did I accidentally toggle? Oh my god, I did. Hold on. Oops, hold on. Bro. Yeah, this model comes with toggles. Hold on. Was it this one? No, this one. No, this. Jesus, hold on. What arm is this? What did I type? No. Put that arm down. No, that's a koala. There's too many hand toggles. Which one is this? Jesus. Oh. How did I activate this one? I don't even... Oh, I did it. It's back to normal now. Okay. Hi, Kaku. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I still find it funny the shoe fits nobody else. Yeah, it's like... Ma'am. She's the only one with that shoe size? I hope you're doing well, Kaku. I'm reading some, I have hands. It's story time. I'm reading some, fairy tales from this book. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. It's currently Cinderella. Cinderella. Imagine using modern words for a story like Cinderella. Oh my gosh, she's performing on the dance floor. I wouldn't be surprised if someone just makes that a compilation as told with slang. Oh, the Power Ranger with all them toggles. It's not even my own. I'm just using this outfit asset for this stream. Or I don't know if I'll bring it back sometime. So yeah, I thought I'd dress appropriately. Yeah. Cinderella sat next to the sisters and gave them all her attention, offering them oranges and lemons which the prince had given her. They were extremely surprised, but they did not recognize her at all. Jeez.
Then the dancing started again. All the young men wanted to dance with the lovely girl, but the prince didn't give anyone a chance.
Also, I'm munching on chips. I'm sorry, I got hungry. I'm doing well. That's good to hear. I'm doing good. Having a nice chill time rereading the fairy tales in this.
Cinderella danced every dance with the prince, and when they rested, he stayed at her side, making sure that she wanted for nothing. Cinderella had never been happier in her life. Indeed, she was so absorbed with the handsome young man and his attention that she quite forgot her fairy godmother's warning.
Uh-oh.
Then the palace clock began to chime. At the first stroke of midnight, Cinderella realized her mistake and sprang to her feet, fleeing the ballroom. The prince followed, but he could not catch her. However, in her hurry, she dropped one of her dainty glass slippers. Still, the young girl ran and ran, not stopping to pick it up or even look behind her. Cinderella arrived home exhausted, without a carriage nor her footman, and dressed in her old clothes. Nothing remained of her splendor but the other glass slipper. The prince asked the guards at the palace door if they had seen the princess leave. They said they had not seen anyone go out but a young girl dressed in rags who looked more like a farmer's daughter than a lady.
Are you in a good mood? I'm in a really good mood today. Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad.
When the sisters came home a little later on, Cinderella asked them if they'd enjoyed the ball. Excitedly, they told her about the beautiful stranger who'd captivated the prince and how she had run off suddenly into the night, leaving one slipper on the palace steps.
There it is.
They told her that the prince had picked up the fallen glass slipper and had gazed at it for the rest of the evening.
Bro's obsessed.
He'd definitely fallen head over heels in love with the beautiful stranger, even though he didn't know who she was.
Damn.
The sisters were telling the truth, for a few days later, the king's son publicly announced that he would marry the girl whose foot would fit perfectly into the slipper. But although all the princesses, then all the duchesses, and all the rest of the court ladies in the land tried it on, not one could fit the delicate shoe. The slipper was eventually brought to the two sisters, who squeezed and pushed and pushed and squeezed, and tried with all their might to fit a foot into it, but all in vain. Then Cinderella smiled and said, "I would like to try the slipper and see if it fits me." The sisters laughed and made fun of her, but the courtier had been given orders to let all the girls in the land try the slipper on. So he sat Cinderella down, and to everyone's surprise, the slipper fit perfectly.
Jeez, no one else had this shoe size. Well, there's the picture.
The two sisters were astonished, but not half as astonished as they were when Cinderella took the other glass slipper from her pocket and put it on. At this moment, the fairy godmother appeared and tapped Cinderella's clothes with her magic wand. At once, the rags changed into a dress even more beautiful than the ones she had worn before. Then the sisters recognized her as the kind lady they had met at the ball. They dropped to their knees and begged her to forgive them for all the suffering they had caused her. Wow, the 180. Cinderella embraced them and said that she forgave them all with all her heart. Then she was taken to the prince in her splendid dress. He thought she was more beautiful than ever, and a few days later he married her. They moved so fast. And of course, you don't need me to tell you that they lived happily ever after.
Oh my gosh. The weirdest video classic stories I've ever heard. I'm just doing my best peak storytelling. I'm glad you're enjoying.
Oh, that's different from the Brothers Grimm version. Yeah, the original was written by Brothers Grimm, but I guess this is these are more like milder retellings, I guess. It does credit the original authors, but I think Annie-Claude Martin was the one who retold them and also drew the illustrations. We are at
Reynard and the Fisherman.
I wonder though, cause like
if you look at how thick this book is,
we're not even halfway there.
I wonder if I should do a part 2 sometime, maybe next week, just to maybe after,
because I feel like, why is it so chonky when we've been through half through half of the story? Well, no, not half, more than half of the stories. I guess there's some big chonker stories here.
Oh yeah, I always do afternoon streams. Well, I've always been doing afternoon streams at on Saturdays. I've been bringing that back, so I usually start like 1-ish p.m. my time. A good storyteller, really? I'm glad you think so. I'm just doing my best. Maybe I'll do Reynard and the Fisherman. See how long it is, and then we'll see. Maybe I'll save the rest of them next time. Best part of my Saturday. Really? I'm glad. I'm glad you guys enjoy the Saturday streams. Reynard and the Fisherman. By who? By... Oh, it's an adventure from Tales of Reynard. Oh. Okay. There's a fox? I don't understand, but the sound so soft, so easy to hear. Really? Oh, I'm glad it's nice to listen to. Don't get sucked into the book like Sora. Like Winnie the Pooh. I do have a lot of Winnie the Pooh books. It was winter and Reynard the Fox had no more food in his store. Driven by starvation, he roamed near the villages without fearing the inhabitants. He hid under a hedge at the side of the main road, waiting for something exciting to happen. Soon, a little cart came along the road. In it were 2 fishermen who wanted to do business in the city. They had a huge catch of fresh herrings to sell, for the north wind had been blowing. Oh. There's the fox, Reynard. The whole week and the fish were plentiful. They also had baskets filled to the brim with fish, large and small, from the lakes and from the rivers. Pike, eel, carp, trout, and salmon. Reynard got very excited at the sight and the smell of the fish cart and decided that this was his chance, so he stretched himself out in the middle of the road as if he were dead. Oh, it's this one, isn't it? This full page spread. He put his feet in the air, closed his eyes, and held his breath. One of the fishermen noticed him and said to his partner,
"Let's pick up that fox. That's a good skin, easily gained."
They approached Reynard cautiously, touched him, and then turned him over, certain that he was dead. Then they estimated, Did he just stop his heart? Did they not check? They then estimated the value of his skin. The best laugh? Well, I don't know about that.
"We will sell it for 3 silver pieces," said one. "No, we will easily get 4 silver pieces for it," said the other. "Maybe more. Look how white the throat is." They threw Reynard to the back of the cart and continued on their way, talking cheerfully. Reynard heard them talking and had a good laugh to himself at the bottom of the cart. He lay flat on his stomach on top of the baskets, and with his sharp teeth, he nibbled at a juicy... Whoa, look at that string of... that eel? The strings of eel? He be munching. At a juicy herring. Then he ate 30 more. Wait. He crunched the raw fish, bone and all, between his teeth. It didn't bother Reynard that there was no salt, herbs, or mustard. The first basket was soon emptied, then he started on the second one. He picked out half a dozen eels that were strung together through their gills to form a loop. Reynard put his head and throat through the loop. Then he arranged the eels securely on his back and jumped down from the cart, at the same time shouting to the fishermen, "Goodbye and have a safe trip home. I only took a couple of eels and I gladly leave you the rest." The fishermen jumped down to follow him, shaking their fists and hitting their heads. How could we have been so stupid? To the devil with this evil beast, they cried. But Reynard ran much faster than they could and easily escaped. When they returned to their cart completely exhausted, all they found were empty baskets. That was a really short one. It was basically just a fox binge eating after playing dead. Okay. Well. This next one is Rapunzel. We know this one. Hold on. Rapunzel by, of course, the Brothers Grimm. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a man and a woman who wanted a child for a long time. And one day, the woman believed that her wish would be granted at last. Their house had a little window at the back which looked out over a magnificent garden filled with beautiful flowers and all kinds of wonderful herbs and vegetables. The garden was surrounded by a high wall and no one dared to go in because it belonged to a powerful witch. One day, as the woman stood at the window and looked into the garden, she noticed a bed full of splendid radishes which looked so fresh and so delicious that she longed to eat them.
The longing to eat those radishes grew stronger day by day, and since this honest woman knew she could never have them, she grew thinner and became pale and weak. Her husband became worried and asked,
"What is the matter, my dear wife?"
"Alas," she said, "if I cannot eat some radishes from the garden behind our house, I will die."
So dramatic.
Her husband, who loved her very much, said,
"I will not let you die, wife."
What is this conversation?
At dusk, he climbed over the wall and went into the witch's garden, where he hastily picked a handful of radishes and brought them to his wife. Immediately she made a salad out of them and greedily ate it. They tasted so delicious that the next day, her desire for more was even greater, bro. To keep her contented, her husband knew he would have to be brave and go to the garden again. Why specifically the garden they told you to worry about? He waited until evening, when it began to get dark, but when he jumped down from the wall, he found himself face to face with the witch.
"How dare you come to my garden to steal my radishes?"
she said furiously.
"Alas," he replied, "I did not come here by my own free will, but I was forced to because of the danger that is threatening my wife."
Oh, he lying.
"She saw your radishes from our window and had such a desire for them that she believed she would die if she could not eat them."
Oh wait, no, it's not a lie. That's actually what she said.
It's a trap.
Then the witch said, "If everything
you have told me is true, I will allow you to take as many radishes as you want. In return, you must give me the child your wife bear."
They keep asking for their children.
The child will have a good home, and I will be a mother to it. Oh. Hey, Munch.
Damn. That's her? She's kind of tall. The man was so terrified that he agreed to everything. But when his wife gave birth to a little girl, the witch came to their home and took the baby away with her. She called her Rapunzel. Rapunzel became the most beautiful little girl under the sun. When she was 12 years old, the witch locked her up in the tower in the middle of the forest. The tower had neither stairs nor doors, only a little window at the top. Every time the witch wanted to go to the top of the tower, she stood underneath the tower and cried,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
Rapunzel had wonderful long hair, as fine as spun gold. Whenever she heard the witch calling, she unpinned her hair, fastened it around one of the window's hooks, and let it fall to the ground. Then the witch climbed up the golden rope. It so happened that the king's son was riding through the forest one day. As he passed nearby the tower, he heard such a glorious sound that he drew up his horse to listen. Oh, there she goes. The beautiful sound was Rapunzel trying to pass the time by singing. In vain, the prince looked for a door into the tower. However, the song had touched his heart so much that he returned to the forest every single day to listen to it. One day, he saw the witch come to the foot of the tower. The prince hid behind a tree to watch her and heard her say,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
Rapunzel then let down her long braids and the witch climbed up. Man, I don't think it's really that possible to grow hair that long, right?
"So that is the way into the tower," he said to himself. "Well, I will just have to try my luck."
The next day at dusk, he went to the tower and called up,
"Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair."
Also, what the heck? Well, he kind of looked like a dweeb in this picture.
Rapunzel's hair tumbled down immediately, and the prince climbed up. At first, Rapunzel was terrified to see a strange man, but the prince told her gently that he had heard her sing and that his heart had been touched by her song. Oh, his hair looks a bit more normal now. What happened? Rapunzel then forgot her fears, and the prince asked if she would have him for her husband. They just met!
He's big bullying him. It's his hairstyle. I can't help it.
She saw that he was young and handsome and thought, he loves me more than the old witch does.
How you know that? You just met him.
So she agreed and gave him her hand. The prince came to visit her every evening, and the witch, who only came during the day, knew nothing at all about it. Then one day Rapunzel said without thinking, "Tell me, how is it that you are slow and heavy and pull my hair, whereas the prince climbs up to me so quickly?"
"You wicked child," cried the witch. "What is this I hear? So you have deceived me." Uh-oh.
She outed herself.
"Hi, Kuno. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. You just know. He's handsome. That's enough to marry in all these stories." Yeah. Be handsome and a prince, I guess.
In her rage, she took Rapunzel's beautiful hair, wound it a couple of times around her hand, and snip snap. She quickly cut it off. All the golden hair and the marvelous braids fell on the floor.
Oh, she looked flabbergasted. Oh, the double spread page of her cutting her hair. Damn. Hi, Dr. 86. Welcome back to the stream. How are you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm reading some fairy tales today. Just for a bit more, maybe until like a little before 5 p.m. But yeah, hope you're doing well. Thank you for the bits. Wow. We are in Rapunzel now. Oh, it's this book, by the way. This one.
Okay. When the witch took Rapunzel to a very remote place and abandoned her to live in loneliness, damn! That evening, as dusk fell, the witch hid herself in the tower. Soon the king's son arrived and called, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair!" When the witch heard this, she fastened poor Rapunzel's hair to the window hook and let it fall to the ground. When the prince climbed up to the window, he found this wicked witch instead of his sweet Rapunzel. She looked at him with the haunting, evil eyes and said, Rapunzel is lost to you forever. You will never see her again." The prince was devastated. In his misery, he fell from the window and landed in a bramble bush. He was not killed, but the thorns on the bush made him blind. Did he land eyeballs first? Goodness me. Unable to think of life without Rapunzel, the young man wandered into the forest. He lived on berries and roots, drifted in this way for many years, until one day he arrived by chance at the lonely place where Rapunzel lived in misery. What are the odds?
There he is, in his bum life.
All at once he heard a voice that was familiar to him and walked towards the sound. When he was close, Rapunzel recognized him. She was overjoyed to see him, but sad when she noticed his sightless eyes. She put her arms around his neck and wept. 2 tears fell from her eyes into the eyes of the blind prince.
I forgot how crazy this version goes. How did they fall into his eyeballs?
Instantly they became clear again, and he could see as he did before. Then, happily reunited with his love, he carried Rapunzel to his kingdom, where they married and lived happily ever after.
She just has magic tears for some reason. Yeah, what the heck? That was a strange one. Ooh.
Well, that was this version of Rapunzel.
Let me see. I have quite a few, Oh! I'm thinking like maybe we could save these last stories for next time, perhaps? Because I'm looking at the lineup.
Yeah, love finds a word.
Yeah, that may not be sanitary. Alibaba and the 40 Thieves is next. There's also the Little Tailor, Tom Thumb, Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, the Firebird, Ricky Tuftyhead, Beautiful Vasilisa, and the 7 League Boots. I feel like it would be good to... It feels weird to separate Alibaba and the 40 Thieves from Aladdin and the Magic Lamp, like, session-wise. So maybe we can continue from those ones next time.
We did manage to read most of them, though. I was just a bit surprised at the page count for these last ones.
Oh, well, oh my goodness, thank you so much for the raid, Goddess Calyptra. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Whoa, Moth Raid, hi.
I was reading, well, I'm reading Treasury of Fairy Tales.
I've got a hand cam on, hello.
I'm welcome in, raiders. Hello. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a nice stream. Unfortunately, I'm thinking of wrapping up and saving the rest of the stories for next time, but
it's super late for me. Good night, enjoy reading. Thank you. Please rest well. I really appreciate the raid, and thank you, and please take care.
For those who are new here,
I am Salami. You can call me Say. I am a Star Fox VTuber. I do gaming, music, and art stuff. And variety. Oh, thank you for following. Thank you.
So yeah, I guess this is part 1 of a treasury of fairy tales. I was able to read Little Red Riding Hood, Snow White and Rose Red, Hansel and Gretel, Little Match Girl, Puss in Boots, All's Well That Ends Well, The Princess and the Pea, Beauty and the Beast, Emperor's New Clothes, Rumpelstiltskin, Florinda and Joringel, Cinderella, Reynard and the Fisherman, and Rapunzel. I feel like some of these were like really short though. There's a few pages, but if I look at the page differences for these ones, I think these would be pretty long.
So I'll probably save that for another time, maybe next week. Same time, same place. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry, let me just I have cheesy fingies. I guess I can close the playlist and put on the usual ones. But yeah, I guess that is Treasury of Fairy Tales for now. As I don't think I can get through all of these before 5. So I figured I'd leave quite a few of them for next time. Thanks for the stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Dr. 86, and thank you again for the bits. Goodness, big thanks to Tom for the bits earlier as well, and Dr. 86, and also Nick. Nick for the bits as well. Thank you Eternal 2 for the Supa, and Goddess Calyptra for the braid just now. I really appreciate the support, so thank you everybody. It's my first time doing a book reading stream, so I'm glad you guys were here to chill, hang out. Don't gotta thank me now, but I must. But yeah, thank you guys for coming by. Thank you for a magical stream. Thank you for watching. Thank you. Hands. I guess Hands will be back next time. When we continue our journey. I'm gonna have this little guy hold it up for me next time as well. But yeah. Probably next Saturday. I don't think I have anything going on, but I will let you guys know if ever something does come up. And yeah, that was today's stream, and hope you guys enjoyed. It's my last stream planned for this week, so please stay tuned for the stream schedules for next week. I'll probably have them up, if not later, probably tomorrow, Sunday. So yeah, please stay tuned. In the meantime, hope you guys had fun. Hope you guys have a good day, night, morning, evening, afternoon. Hope you had a good time. And yeah, hope to see you guys again next time. Bye bye. Thanks so much for tuning in, and have a nice rest of your Have a nice rest of your weekend. Yes, bye bye. And please take care, stay safe, stay healthy, everybody.